Evening, everybody. Hey, Bill. Hi, David. Evening, everybody. What's going on? Hey, now. I do. I love that guy. Hey, now. All right, I gotta do that pre-roll thing. Gotta do the pre-roll thing. Gonna do that in about 20 seconds. Looks like you guys have already started a hype train. We got about 70 seconds there. And listen, you might want to keep that going. I've got bonuses for you. I got bonuses for you tonight. It's a pop-up bonus. Yo, 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 yo. All right, gonna do the ads. Here we go. Somehow my timing got off tonight. The clock didn't end up matching the Twitch clock. So they're still in ads for another minute. So we'll let that finish, then we'll start the show. Griffin's not here either. I don't know where Griffin is.
I think I foobarred this.
I foobarred nothing. Everything is great. Bow, bow, bow. I feel like the stream is too loud. Is it too loud? I can turn it down a little bit. We're peaking in the red. There, is that a little bit better? Is that better? What's up, R&T? Yeah, I was thinking it was a bit loud. Does that feel a little bit better now? Another little bit?
You're the best. Give me hugs and kisses.
What about here? I don't even mean like with my voice. I just mean like if it was just music. About right here? The ouds are louder. The ouds. All right. Evening, everybody. What's going on? Welcome into the show. Hi. It's time to start the show. evening, everybody. Evening. What's going on? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you guys all being here. Good evening and welcome in. My name is UltimatDJz. This is Talking Trek Live, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast, welcoming you into the Thursday show. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot of craziness going on here in the chat, and I'm here to welcome all of you guys into it. We got a lot to talk about tonight. We got a lot to teach you tonight, and we might as well dive right in with our beautiful and amazing and wonderful live studio audience with a Talking Trek server sound off. You guys go ahead and hit it. What is going on? Gherkin kicking us off on European 184. Thank you, Crazy on 24. Noon Whistle on server 29. What's going on? Sherlock and also on 27. Tarpy on server 70. Royal Power on 36. Dr. Juby on server 61. That's ridiculous, Juby. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Benny Hills Ghost on 42. What's going on? Welcome in. Appreciate that. What's going on? Dominus Prime on server 53. Thank you. Jay Carlo on server 16, as is Resilient. Jondrel coming in and hanging out as well. Good evening. Plugster on APAC 188. Just Q on server 56. Bear Butt Owl on server 24. Thompson Gun on server 702. Camel on APAC 188. Jondrel on 32. Mord on 195. What's going on? Commander Taylor on 187. Shelby, always great intro mix. Thank you. I just hit a button. Press the button. Wood Cannon on 35. Sea Engineering on 36. Thank you. What's going on? Peace or Assimilation on 57. Pong on 56. Bender the Robot on 51. Engineer on 89. Candy White blessing us on server 24. Thank you. Kirok on 61. Raj on 9. Jeppy. Guppy on 35. Thank you. Silver Tab on 40. Fisty on server 20. Rest in Process on server 100. USS Contradiction on server 13. KJ on 34. What's going on? Shiz on 24. Silent L Count on 16. Wood Cannon. I think I read yours already, bro. Mark, what's going on server 114? How are you? Rico on 55. Manxman on 24. Destros on 32. Pirate King on 701. Mad Hatter on 95. Mimi on 61. Shelby on 701. The Dudables on 76. Hero on server 30. Siggy on 171. Hiya! What's going on? R&T on server 16. And so many more, like 50 additional messages there in the Talking Trek server sound off. Thank you guys so very much. You are so loud. That is so loud. Like there's a crazy background noise. I can hear you smacking your lips over there. And there's an echo. You are way over mod. You are way over mod.
I just logged on.
Yeah, and I can hear a pin drop in 3 rooms over. You've done some work on the studio, haven't you?
Some high fidelity audio going on here.
Yeah, I can hear somebody breathing 3 rooms and a left down the hall. Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you. Welcome into the show. My name is UltimatDJz. This is Talking Trek, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast. Appreciate you guys all being here. What's going on? Welcome in. It is the ghost of Ghost Energy that we hear hanging out over there in Griffin's house. Good evening, everybody. Appreciate you. We've got 90 seconds on a level 5 hype train already. We're just starting the show. You guys are incredible. Let me say a couple of thank yous very quickly. Angel, thank you for the new YouTube sub. What's going on? Thank you. Thank you for pressing that subscribe button. I like it. I like it a lot. Angry Lou with the 15-month primer. Thank you very much. You know I got a special place in my heart for primes. Thank you. Not those primes. The prime subs.
Well, you know, the truth comes out.
Oh, got it. Thank you. That was ridiculous. Thank you very much, Angry Lou. Appreciate that. Papa Smurf, thanks for the bits. And Dominus Prime with the tier 3. 37-month resub. Appreciate that so very much. And Alicia, thank you for your bits. Q, thank you for the bits. Newton, 8 months with the primer. Jongo, 33 months at tier 3. Man, all the big guns coming out here. Freelancer, thank you for your 300 kitty bitties. Silent Elkhound dropped 5 gifted to keep the hype train alive here just a little bit ago, where we've got 30 seconds on it now to extend the clock. Iron Fister, 100 kitty bitties. Thank you. Thompson Gunn with the Prime sub, 2 months on that. Thank you. Engineer with the 100 kitty bitties. Barebutt Al with the bits as well. Thank you. Jay Carlo with the 26-month resub. And Dominus Prime dropping another 5. MIS Nemesis dropping another 5. Kill to Deal with the Tier 2 9-month resub. Tall Bear, thank you, dude. Welcome into the channel. How are you?
Hey, Tall Bear.
Tall Bear, for those of you who don't know, Tall Bear is in my alliance, but he left the game. Left the game for a long time and came back. As a matter of fact, I played STFC with Tall Bear day one. He was a day one legacy player here on Server 15. And might I add, a crucial part of the Server 15 Great Chala War. All right, he was right there, right smack dab in the middle of it, trying with his Galactic Senate and all that stuff. Ancient history on Server 15. Tall Bear, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate that. Dropping a gifted sub in the chat. Plugster dropping 5 gifted in the chat. And now we are on to a level 6 hype train. I have to remind you, obviously, since we are here on Twitch, on YouTube, yeah, fun times back in the day. 6 years ago. Can you believe that was 6 years ago, Tall Bear? 6 years. That was crazy, man. Way back in the day. Welcome back to the game, by the way. He has come back to the game. When did you come back? Just probably about, 3 months ago? 4 months ago? And has rejoined the game. Obviously missed 5 weeks ago. Not even. So just under 2 months. Rejoined the game 5 weeks ago. That's right. That's when we played STFC uphill. In the snow, both ways. With dial-up internet. Okay, that's right. We only had 3G back then. So, yeah, no, it will be really, really interesting to talk to him in detail, find out just like a perspective, like how the game has changed and where he's catching up from. When you rejoined the game, what was your ops level? 5 weeks ago, what was your ops level? Because you had played a couple of years ago, I think, for what? 2 or 3 months, and you were like, yeah, nothing's really changed. I'm out. So then he left again. So you started at Ops 54 here 5 weeks ago. I'd be really curious to see how things have felt for you. Because you used to be a leading edge player. Went from 54 to 60 in the last 5 weeks. And I'm curious, you've probably spent a couple dollars there, but how much? Anything crazy? More than a couple $100? I know you were trying to get caught up on some ships and stuff like that. Griffin dropping the 20 bomb. Thank you. What are you doing, baby?
Keeping it alive.
Keeping it alive. Guys, we've got a level.
Tall Bear is $600 in.
$600 in. So $100 a week. He's $600 in. And has gone 6 ops levels in the last 5 weeks after being gone for 3 years. It's not too bad.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, pretty good. We'll talk to him more later. I think that would be a really interesting segment. We'll talk to him more. Guys, couple of things. Thank you so very much for being here. Welcome into the podcast audience as well. Thank you for being here. Thank you for downloading the show. Appreciate you giving it your attention and your ears. We've got a level 7 hype train going on right now in the live studio audience. And I'll have you guys know that we have now, Griffin, expanded our offerings here just a little bit. If you take a look at the top level of your screen and those of you in podcast, when we are live, we have a couple of different daily stream goals that we try to set. But we try to up the ante. We try to make them feel valuable, and we try to do that for everybody, right? Not just the podcast audience, because they support very, very well through Patreon and through the downloads and all that stuff. And they go back and they watch our shows a lot of the time. So I really do appreciate that. But we have decided to up the ante here a little bit. And it's going to include rewards that are not just for a live studio audience, Griffin. Obviously, if we hit the dono goal, which is $100, then we're still giving away 10 free cruise entries to the live studio audience. But you know what else? I decided that we would take a couple of hours and play a community choice game. All right, anything you guys want, anything at all, maybe for an hour, one evening, we hit the goal. That's community choice game night. There you go. Boom, one, okay? And that could happen every single stream. Maybe you guys decide that you want to just start playing a bunch of random games. Well, check it out. Checkers, Command & Conquer, chess. I got beat down in chess the other day. I played, so we're going to introduce you guys. Oh, I wonder if she's streaming tonight. I'm not entirely sure. I should send her a message to see if she's actually going to stream tonight. I think that was the original plan, is she was going to stream, but then I got a late start. Shocker. So I was going to raid over, but when we were done with this show. But I have been playing chess with a new streamer friend and getting the absolute stink kicked out of me. Guys, we're talking. I told you guys the other day about the speed chess that I wanted to play.
Mm-hmm.
So we set 5-minute timers. She checkmated me with like 3:45 still on her timer.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, whoa. She, I've played only like 3 matches with her, and I don't think she's used more than 90 seconds each time. Like she's good. She's good.
Well, in contrast, after watching you play Star Trek Fleet Command for 6 years, one thing we all know is that you don't do anything quickly.
I did watch your video today.
Oh, did you? Did you like that?
There were a lot of cuts in there. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize how badly I was distracting Jules that night. I was all over the place. So anyway, we'll hopefully be able to say hey to Alyssa later on this evening. Maybe we'll see if she pops in, and we'll introduce you guys because she is going to be a guest of ours here in the next few weeks to potentially transform my face. So there's that community choice game night. Also, we are getting ready to schedule our big Saturday marathon, the 12-hour movie marathon. Griffin, by popular demand, I guess, I mean, I haven't even put it up for a poll, but just the number of the gazillions of PMs that are all just absolutely mind-boggled at me that I have never watched. Where's my drum roll button? I thought I had one. Do I not?
Oh, I've got one for you. Here you go.
Yeah, you got one. I've never watched Lord of the Rings.
What?
Yeah, I've never
How
watched.
can that be?
I have never watched Lord of the Rings. So yes, Tarpy, and that's a thing too. I've never watched Lord of the Rings. So you guys have the people that I talked to about this the other day, Griffin, they when we were on stream, they were like, yeah, okay, that's got to be the 12-hour movie marathon.
We finally found him, everybody. We found the one person that they keep re-releasing these special editions on DVD for, hoping that they will finally make it to his house.
Yeah. Tavi Moses says, we're appalled every time you tell us. Well, we're not that far away. We're not that far away. Coming up here in just a few short bits, a few short Saturdays, we're going to push through marathon all the way, 12 hours, all of them, right here in Discord. And that's already something that I owe you. But if we hit our bit goal right here in the middle, 15,000 bits, then we'll add another movie night. Might be random through the week, just be whenever. We're just going to get together. We're going to pop some popcorn. We're going to watch a movie. All community engagement stuff here, Griffin. Thank you very much, Kelbound, for the 30-month resub. We are now in a tier 8 hype train here in the Twitch chat. And of course, Tarpy, absolutely, that can't stop. If we hit level 10, we'll give away $100. All right. If we hit level 11, we'll give away another $100. Once we get to hype train 10, every level after that, we give away another $100. Okay, so that can happen here tonight if you guys would like to do that. Kelbound, thank you for the 30-month resub. Plugster dropping a 5-pack into the chat. Thank you very much. Broken Wolf and Andalicia for the bits. Con, thank you for the 5 gifted. Appreciate that so very, very much. Yowzers and Benny Hills Ghost, thank you guys for the bits. And then right above my head here on the screen, we've got the sub goal, which you guys are absolutely crushing these right now. Belgrace says, can you legally stream those? No, we can't, which is why we do a movie night. We can't stream it on Twitch. All right. What we do is we get together in Discord. That's why it's not streaming. There's no, that actually is a function of Discord. It's called movie night. Or what's it called? Movies together. I don't remember exactly what it's called. But there is a feature of Discord where we can just watch a movie together. All right. It's not streamed. It's not something you can play back. It would be no different than you guys coming over to my house, sitting on the couch and watching a movie together. All right. And that's what we'll do. We'll do it in Discord.
You do push the movie through Discord, do you not? Is that not how that works?
Yes. Yeah. So we'll watch it together. I will provide you that in Discord, but it's not like out. You have to be you got to be in our Discord. You got to be a member of our community. So it's like me inviting you to my house. Okay, so you're fine. We're good that, yes, we can legally do it. There is a disclaimer allowed for our level of Discord. You got to be a community Discord, and you have to be nitro boosted, I think, to at least level 2, which we are. So we're good. So we'll be able to do that, all right? Shinjo says, I'm going to warn you, it seems legally very questionable. No, listen, people do movie nights all the time. All right, they do movie nights all the time. We've done movie nights here. I've just never done 12 hours in a row. Okay, so we're going to do movie marathon, and we'll do another movie night every single time we hit the goal. You guys will add another movie night. And then over here on the subs, which we're already almost 60% through, which is crazy. If we hit the 100 subs, then that's just good for a good old-fashioned bonus stream. All right, extra, one night, unscheduled. We'll just come out and we'll do whatever. Okay, and that could be playing a different game. It could just be sitting out here and grinding. You know, Griffin, I had some comments the other day about how many people actually just really enjoyed Tuesday night after we got done with like our commentary and stuff like that. They said it was really nice and kind of peaceful and relaxing to just be able to sit and grind. Like it was just a chill.
Oh, yeah.
We just kind of chatted and it was chill and so cool. And well, we'll do some more of that. All right. So that'll be
this was
fun.
the episode of Twitch and Trek after the game design interview we did, right?
No, it was actually just this past Tuesday. It was 2 nights ago. Remember, you were here.
Oh, they liked it. They liked it because I logged off and then I wasn't there. So
you went to the hot tub.
That made the show. And that made the show 10 times better.
Very chill after that. By the way, thank you guys so very much. Just completed a level 8 hype train. Wow. Yeah. Thank you guys so much. You know what? Squad says we need talking in cars with DJs again, too. You know what? Maybe we'll build that in. Tarpy, maybe we'll build that into a stream goal here. We'll do a bonus talking in cars with DJs about something. I don't even know why you guys like that show.
Well, here's the thing. Now that we're not doing an Arc Fall video anymore, because Scopely does an Arc Fall video, that actually makes the argument that it does perhaps make talking in cars with DJs relevant again, because there's your first impression live audio stream.
Okay. Well, we can think about it. We can think about it.
I like that.
Yeah, we can think about it. Count DeVille says, well, they did an Arc Fall video. Doesn't mean they'll keep doing them. No, I can tell you that is absolutely their intent. And they've been doing it for like the last 6 or 7 months now. Listen, I know I've said this a lot over the years, and it's always been true. Okay, it's always been true. So I'm going to that was not a Scopely. What's the Scopely answer? That I might think about it? No, you know what? Here's the thing. It's just my schedule, my routine is different. From when I used to do talking in cars, my routine's a little bit different now, based on the time that I get up and I've got to take Oliver to school, to the bus and things like that. However, Shinjo said that he really, really liked it. So maybe we'll have to consider bringing it back, especially since we have basically made the decision as a team that we will not be doing our own ArcFall videos anymore. Maybe it's something we consider picking back up. All right, I'm not necessarily opposed to that, but I'll be in the car. I can't record it. I can't record it anymore. And Griffin,
I can record it. I have no problem doing
that. I
that.
thought you had like the same thing going on in the morning with the kids in the school and the. Well, we'll see.
He can walk. He can walk. I don't care. He can ride his bike.
Ride his bike. Well, I tell you what. We will strongly take your feedback into consideration when we evaluate our content offerings for the future. Now, that is a Scopely answer, Cruzito. All right, that right there. That's what that is. Two Bubble, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Welcome in. How are you? Zoidberg, thank you for your 100 kitty bitties. Mount Stone, thank you for your hydrate. Griffin, we do have our first hydrate of the night from C Engineering and Mount Stone. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you guys very much for spending your toy mice on a hydrate. Griffin, what is it that you are hydrating with tonight?
I am having the delicious No Sugar Crash Ghost Energy Soured Pink Lemonade tonight with that tangy, sweet taste of summer hitting us with that 90-degree weather down here in Florida. You got to pop open a nice, beautiful, delicious sour pink lemonade.
I love that.
How about you, DJs?
That is one of my absolute favorite flavors, but I'll tell you, tonight I am having my number one favorite flavor, and that would be the amazing, fruity, and also very summer-filled Straw Bango. That's what I'm having tonight. Straw Bango Ghost Energy, the mix of mango, strawberry, and banana, all in a lovely fruit drink with literally less than 10 calories, 200 milligrams of caffeine, 1,000 milligrams of carnitine for amazing brain energy. For legendary focus, epic energy with none of the crash, it is Ghost Energy Straw Bango. Available on Amazon by using the link !Amazon in the Discord or the Twitch chat, !Amazon. Use that link to support Talking Trek. Whenever you do any of your normal everyday shopping at Amazon, do it with that link and support our show and pick yourself up some amazing Ghost Energy. Thank you guys so very much. I appreciate that. And thank you for your hydrates. I will take one right now.
Oh, he's a slurper. However, let's not get it twisted. Everybody knows that the number one flavor is not Straw Bango. It is Welch's Grape Ghost Energy, and it always will be.
It was the original. So, I don't know. You know what? I like Straw Bango. It's my favorite. All right. I Kill You says no, gross. What's your favorite flavor? Or, yeah, you said you drink water. Khan says orange creamsicle. Yeah, that's a good one,
yeah, that's
too.
A good one.
Nick says sour pink lemonade is better than Straw Bango. Pfft, have a seat.
I agree with that. 100% right. Yes.
I Kill You says, yep, I'm going with water. Fisty and Andy going with Swedish fish. Well, you get your fill of that.
It's gone.
Get your fill of that
out of here. You can't buy it.
Yeah, that one's getting ready to go. So anyway, listen, we've got a lot to talk about tonight. We did talk about some of this on Tuesday, and it did take me a day or two, Griffin, but I did turn Tuesday's show into a podcast, and I uploaded it. There was no opener. There was no closer. As a matter of fact, the funniest piece of that was probably the way we got out of it. The moment of realization that I wasn't actually recording anything. And and Jules was like, well, would have made a great podcast, DJ. And then it just cuts off right there. Nice.
That's perfect.
Nice little spot right there. But that is a great listen. Jules was on here talking about the favors and talking about a lot of the analytics regarding the new Augment Faction store. So definitely be sure to go and check that out. And we did talk a lot about we talked a little about some of the stuff that I want to put into our show notes here tonight. While we are in an actual official studio show, we've got some things to talk about. Fisty, for example, asking, is there a new promo code today? Indeed, there is. All right, there is a new promo code to celebrate.
A good one.
Yes, a full 38 shards of Ortegas. All right, the promo code is Boldly Go. All right, and the reason that was launched today was to celebrate the announcement from Paramount Plus that Strange New Worlds Season 3 finally has a premiere date. That's right, July 17th, 2025, we will see the return of Captain Pike, Spock, Nurse Chapel, and so many of our favorite characters, with the first 2 episodes airing July 17th, 2025. And then we'll get the remaining 8 episodes weekly on Thursdays, with the season finale airing on September the 11th, 2025. Also being announced today, which is huge. Also being announced today, ahead of the Season 3 premiere, Season 4 has been greenlit.
All right.
Yes. Season 4 has been renewed already, and you can celebrate with promo code BoldlyGo at StarTrekFleetCommand.com. StarTrekFleetCommand.com, and you can go. Wait, BD says Season 4 has been filming for months now. Oh, well, I just got it on my. It was greenlit a while. Well, it's on my promo release today. Okay, it's literally right here on my release sheet. Maybe they did already. Maybe they did already start it and they've been filming for a while. But it's on my release sheet here where they're talking about the filming started in March. Well, okay.
That doesn't mean that they announced the filming of the green light. You just know more than most people, Shinjo.
Yeah, Shinjo, you just know more than me. And I don't
which is not saying much, but
I don't like how that sounded. Okay, I don't like that. That's right, Shinjo. On the other hand, sad news here. Netflix has announced that they are not renewing their licensing for Prodigy. Not only are we not getting a Season 3, but they're also not renewing the licensing, which means Prodigy will be coming off of the Netflix platform here in just the next couple of weeks. So if you want to get your fill of Prodigy, you better do it now. As of now, we do not know when or where it will resurface or even if. So go enjoy your Star Trek Prodigy, as it will be down off of streaming platforms very, very soon. So there you go. But there is that, and that is the promo code Boldly Go. So thank you for that, Fisty. Absolutely, go to StarTrekFleetCommand.com and use Boldly Go, and you'll be able to hook up with 38 shards of Ortegas, which is
38 shards right there. Boom.
Very, very much. I like that. So. Cool. Glad we got that out of the way. I want to comment on free DTI. All right. The other day, we were in the studio Tuesday, and I got to rip up my free DTI banner and my shirt sign, and I got to finally claim my chest that I did not get to claim. And
game's broke.
Game's stuck. All right. So that being said, I have seen a couple of people. Look at this. Duke says, I want my artifacts to convert again. Duke, I'm telling you, man, people, as a people, there are persons out there that can be happy. As a people, we can never be happy. All right, we just can't. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened with that, with the temporal converters. The temporal converters are going offline. Now, if you want the regular artifacts to be converted, that is going to happen. Okay? Broken Wolf says no auto-converting artifacts. Well, that is what Scopely picked up from the feedback. All right, that's right. People are the worst. That's what Scopely picked up from the feedback, is that indeed will be the opinion of the people, is to not have the temporal artifacts converted automatically. What will happen is that the standard artifacts and the isolytic artifacts will convert. All right. So with the old traditional remnants, you will see those convert over, which is ultimately a very, very good thing. All right. That being said, the temporal artifacts will no longer convert over. So that will allow you to continue using those for Alliance tournaments. All right. Mark says, convert them all. You know,
well, you can't make everybody happy because there were pitchforks.
There were pitchforks, all right? Danny says, I don't understand this. You know, here's the deal. I would, Ham Sam says, make a toggle. I get it. Ham Sam, make a toggle on-off choice and settings. That'd be a nice idea. And maybe that's something that we can do. That's right. Kelger says the same thing. Surely they can give us the option whether we want to do it or not. And I'm sure that they probably can. This is my comment on that. These things take time. Okay? Hey, Tibbs, what are you doing, baby?
The Tiberiites are here.
The Tiberiites millions are here. Listen, these things take time, all right? For example, if you wanted to go and put a toggle in settings, that takes time, all right? Calgar says time they spend on animated videos. Different teams, okay? We're talking animators versus coders, okay? That being said, let me be very, very clear. This is a perspective that I think is very not present right now, and I want to make it present. They turned it on because they thought it's what we wanted, all right? And in fairness, that feedback was misinterpreted, I believe, but in also a lot of fairness, not clarified, okay? Because boldly doesn't have an E in it, Nicole. She says boldly go is not working. There's no E. It's just bold.
Oh,
L-Y.
you can't write that. You can't write that comedy.
Bold L-Y-G-O. Okay, B-O-L-D-L-Y-G-O. Try that one. Try
DJs, I'm seeing in chat that there's a little confusion about exactly what the difference is and what we're like that. Lila Danny, I think he really meant, I don't understand exactly what you're talking about. Why don't you flip on the whale cam and we'll describe what we're talking about and what the difference is here.
Yeah, and let's explain this for the podcast audience, and really even the spreadsheet would be a great place to look at it. But Griffin, if we take a look at your artifacts tab, in the refinery, let's start here. In the refinery, you've got the artifacts tab where you can convert artifacts such as the Blade of Takan and Captain Proton's Blaster and Picard's Reskin Flute. These are the original standard artifacts, all right? And here, once you max an artifact, you're going to be able to convert these things for artifact remnants, all right? And on this original set of artifacts, these artifacts would go all the way up to level 15, and then you would use remnants for the last 5 levels, taking it all the way up to level 20. Okay?
And the great thing about these are those remnants are universal. So I did Captain Proton's Blaster there, but those remnants are good for any of them to go from level 15 up to level 20, which is great.
And the same thing applies for a lot of the isolytics, the Borg Queen's Remains, and a lot of these others. That will remain the case. Okay. However, there was a new directive that was sourced and now uses something called a temporal disruptor. All right. They are a different currency. And they use temporal remnants, which are different from the original remnants. All right. So it's the same mechanic, but with just a different currency. So the temporal remnants have a different strategic value, for example. All right. Because for some players, there is an alliance tournament task that will reward you 10,000 points and a boatload of alliance tournament currency by acquiring 17,000 temporal disruptors. Well, or is it spending? I think it's acquiring.
It's acquiring because you can buy them.
That's right. So what players would do is they would bank up all of their excess shards, their temporal artifact shards. And then when the Alliance tournament task would come around, that is when they would go in and exchange them in the overflow mechanic for the temporal disruptors. And if you have a fair number of artifacts getting at or near tier 8, which a lot of people do, then you would then be able to accomplish that task as a free-to-play without having to buy a pack or do anything silly like that. And so that was a task that a lot of players very much enjoyed because it was a free-to-play task that still rewarded very well in Alliance tournaments. So then, Broken Wolf says just because certain content, I think he's pointing the finger at me, just because certain content creators wanted auto-conversion doesn't mean the people did. Let me tell you, that was not just a content creator thing. It was not just a moderator thing. The feedback was overwhelming on this, okay? This was a big thing. So, but as I told you Tuesday, when I went through and looked at all of those reports, and I looked at every single one, I did my research before I made this claim, okay? nobody specified separating the traditional artifacts from the temporal disruptors. Further, the justification for it, Griffin, was something along the lines of, and I don't think I'm going to be able to show you now, but the justification for it was because we were up to several thousand of these shards for the traditional artifacts. Several thousand.
We all were so hot to have our traditional artifact shards quickly converted without having to click. Nobody even really thought to think about, well, technically the temporal disruptors are in the same boat for the programmer's eyes. And they, they put the two together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and say, oh, look, did you a great favor. Take care of these two.
Fair
Aren't
enough.
you happy?
There you go. Now, the good news is you're right. It doesn't really matter, Retro Fury, because they changed it back, didn't they? Yes, they did after hearing the feedback. And they have now separated them. Okay, meaning that standard and isolytics are going to get the auto conversion, and temporal will stick around for you to manually do them. Okay? So, for those of you who are asking, well, can't they give us a toggle? Yes, they can. This was a very quick reaction to something they thought was what the people wanted. All right? And they reacted. So when people say that, can we get a toggle and can we do, can they give us the choice? That feedback has also been received very, very loud and clear. And I am told that they are actually investigating the feasibility and the time frame involved with that toggle. So for those of you who are asking, it's a brilliant idea. It's just not something that's going to happen with the flip of a switch. They reverted their change and then just isolated the difference in the auto conversion. And now if we want a UI change, there's things involved with that. But they are talking about that, and I wanted to relay that to you because a lot of people have been asking about that. All right? So I think that is an interesting idea, and obviously so do they. Griffin?
And again, if you're a Scopely engineer watching, I'd like to remind you that this is all your fault, because there is an artifact gallery screen where we manage all of the artifacts. And to this day, we have one interface to manage original artifacts, as I have up on my screen.
Yeah.
And then you were very kind and you put in a drop down for isolytic artifacts during the Voyager loop when isolytic artifacts became a thing. Since then, we have also introduced temporal artifacts, which there is no sorting mechanic for whatsoever. And even when you made the isolytic one, all you really did is sort of put them at the top of the chart, and you can't really tell where isolytic stops and original begins. So if you could just go ahead and fix this interface to be usable, that would be absolutely fantastic. And then we'd all know what we're talking about, and it would not be mass hysteria. DJz, back to you.
More filters would be great. Now, this is funny. I have to read this comment. Silvertab says, DJ, I'm a developer. I made a change for a feature that was requested and was literally asked today the level of effort to revert the change they requested. It happens, man. It happens. And so that's why I'm saying, like, I appreciate, and we should all appreciate that they did the reversion. All right. That's not a shill comment. Just appreciate that the reversion happened. But I wanted to share with you that they are not abandoning this idea and are willing to consider other items that will help in your conversion of artifact shards. Okay, so that was something that I wanted to share with you. But that being said, free DTI is official. Now, I made a comment on Tuesday because I see this. Well, free DTI, they're not really free. They've just now opened up visitation rights, Griffin, because they didn't free up everything. Well, I gave the leak on Tuesday that we couldn't leave it alone. We couldn't completely free the DTI. And that was simply because, Pal says free DTI isn't over. Don't accept a compromise at all. It's all or nothing. Well, that's not the way to approach any type of negotiation and or business relationship. All right. All or nothing is rarely how anything works. The problem with
thinking like that, why Russia and Ukraine are still at war.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That doesn't always work. That being said, let me be very clear. Okay. That I made this clear on Tuesday. One of the reasons, pal, that I took and endorse publicly and willingly endorse the compromise that we got is because I now know that there will be future content that's impacted by this decision.
Ooh.
And I shared that on Tuesday. Okay. And while I understand the position of the people, because I was with you, you guys saw how adamant I was. All right. At the same time, I'm not trying to undo or damage the content of this game. I, for one, have always been in favor of balance, even when things come out and they appear good, but we know they're not. Like Isolated Cascade with Hull Breach, or Apex Shred, or Unlimited Temporal Disruptors. Okay? So you guys may also remember that I was a very big opponent of the multi-tiered Dolomine Primes. You guys remember? I did not.
Oh, yeah, you hated them.
I hated them.
Lost in just cleared your board on the top there,
Lost
pal.
in! What's going on, baby boy? Thank you. Look at there. See, now we get community choice game night. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, Lost in. We'll come to you here in a little bit for your choice of game. Here's the thing. I didn't like the multi-tiered Dolomine Primes. Why? Not because they made things cheaper. That's great. But because they wrecked the economy. Do you guys remember? Let's go back in time. Okay, going back in time. Do you remember the first ship that came out after the multi-tiered Dolomine Primes? Anybody remember?
Was it the ISS, whatchamacallit?
No, it was a Voyager.
It was.
No, it was Voyager.
Oh, Voyager, really?
Voyager was the
wow.
first ship after the Dolomite Primes. Do you guys remember when we looked at that little chart and we looked at the material cost of upgrading the Voyager? And we discovered at that particular moment in time that it was almost programmed and or slightly assumed that the multi-tiered Dolomite Primes were taken into account because the factor of difficulty in upgrading the Voyager was insane. It was staggering. It was off by a factor of 10. I'm rocking havoc because my head was spinning at the cost. All right. It was absolutely insane. I mean, a single component might have been 15,000 materials. All right. It's just insane. Upgrading the Voyager wasn't worth the materials, even with max tier. Today, it's different. Okay. But then, and the community went wild.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, and it still is expensive. Vic says they misplaced a decimal spot. That's how far off the cost of upgrading Voyager was. And that, by the way, was a direct result of Dolomite Primes. Scopely will deny it to this day, and I will argue it to this day. They had to adjust the economy, and there was only two ways to go. One, you could assume nobody had the Prime, and then you design a ship, but then people who did have the Prime would upgrade, would max it out with $100 pack. It wasn't
and those were the people
anymore.
that would be spending on packs in the first place.
Exactly. Okay. I mean, you could have maxed a ship if you assumed that those primes didn't exist. So instead of going that direction, which they couldn't do because it would wreck the economy, they had to go the other direction and make the ships more expensive so that they would basically be the same price even after the prime. What did that do to the free-to-play? Smacked them right in the face. Smacked them right in the face. And by the way, Cruzito, I'm not saying that it was a bad thing. I'm just saying what they did was preserve their economy at the cost of free-to-play players. I maintain to this day the Dolomite Primes were terrible for this game. Now that they're sourceable and grindable, it's different. But how long's it been? 2 years?
More. Well, yeah, 2 years.
2 years since Dolomite multi-tiers? All right. About a year and a half too long. Anyway, the reason that I bring that up is because I do value economy. I value balance. I value Scopely's ability to design content in the future. I reserve their right. I give them their reservation of rights to do that. If they don't make money, we don't have a game. And I've said this a million times. I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. I want them to make billions of dollars. I want them to make so much money. I want them to make money. Okay? I just want them to do it in the right way. I want them to do it in a way that we're happy with. I want them to do it in a way that makes us feel good. So, if I'm having a conversation with them and they were like, listen, we can't flood the market with temporal disruptors because it's going to affect something that we've got designed down the road, then this is something we got to do.
Things that make you go, And
you know what? At that particular moment, I'm like, okay, well, then we've got to do something else. Because I'm a businessman, all right? And I represent you. At this negotiating table, community, I represent you. But I also have a business relationship. I've had to explain this many times over the last 5 years. I got a business relationship with them, all right? I'm not out to burn them down. I'm not out to cost them money. I am out to make a game that is great and better for you guys and them. That's always been my place. That's how I've always
And
felt.
those two goals are not in competition of each other.
No,
It
I don't
just
think so.
seems like that depending on who tells the story.
Well, maybe so. All right. Griffin, I think for 5 years, I've painted myself as that representative of the community that is able to have a business-like conversation and negotiation with a multi-billion-dollar company.
No doubt, while still advocating for the rights and the fairness and the pleasure of the customer.
What was my number one complaint with free DTI? By the way, Mark, you know, you say they could have created a new currency for upgrading the new artifacts. It's not like that's not been done before. Yeah, and I brought that up when free DTI first happened. I brought that up, and everyone's like, no, more currencies, which, by the way, Ripper and I always agreed that the community was crazy for not liking new currencies because new currencies are the only way that you get any progress in this game. Now, that's not a popular opinion. It's just fact. All right. But I don't try to peddle that opinion because most people don't agree with it. But bottom line is you have to have new currencies in this game. It would not survive, nor would you be ever able to make any meaningful progress in any loop if you had to use the same crystal gas and ore for everything. You would never make progress. All right. That being said, at this moment now, community, I had to alter my approach. Just like in any negotiation, just like in any conversation, negotiation, compromise, mediation, whatever you want to call it. All right. I had to adjust, just like they had to adjust. And I went back to what my core concerns were. My core concerns were the huge bank of DTI faction credits that people now could not dump. That was my number one complaint. My number one complaint was the people who had been saving those for a rainy day, maybe for a favor, maybe for an upgrade officer, maybe to jump a tier on an officer, whatever. My biggest complaint was the bulk of faction credits that were now literally worthless and could no longer be physically spent because of the cooldowns. That was my number one concern. Now, other people had other concerns. All right. Other people had concerns, for example, regarding artifact, the temporal disruptors for alliance tournaments. Now, me personally, that was not super high on my list. All right, because grinders events come and grinders events go. Okay, we're not always going to have the exact same events, but I do acknowledge, Griffin, the value of that task. That was a big one. Jules Verne has taught it on this very stage. It's a big task. It's a desirable task, especially for a free-to-play, because it's got a huge ROI. You can get huge returns.
It's a 10,000 pointer
with 4,400 AT store credits. It's one of the best paying tasks there are. So obviously players are upset at the opportunity to lose that. All right. That was not high on my list, but it was definitely there. That was a position of the community. Andy says, I'm sure they're going to nerf that task now. I don't believe that they will. Andy, I don't believe that they will. That task already doesn't show up a ton. All right. And that wasn't really their concern. That wasn't their chief concern. Their chief concern were the number of temporal disruptors.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So they had to alter their thinking here a little bit as well. So we're like, okay, so we can't do it on the disruptors, but we got to get rid of the bank somehow. You got to remove cooldowns on something. So then we did the same math. We did the same math, Griffin, that we did on this show right after free DTI, and showed that even with all of the credit income completely dedicated to officers, it would still take over a year to max one epic, which tells you how slow it is. If you spent no credits on anything else, it would take nearly a year to max an epic from start to finish, using every faction credit you had.
Wow.
Well, Scopely has invested a great deal of time and brain power into improving officer sourcing over the last several months. We're going to continue to see that, Griffin, over the next several months. All right? Look at what they're doing right now with this new quadruple loop, which we're going to talk about later. But the new augment thing, all right? Tons of new officers becoming available. Officer efficiencies now, which is amazing. That's right, in engineering. Officer sourcing now is way better than it was last year, and they're going to continue. All right? For some of you guys who are making some decent progress, G5 and down, making decent progress in your new away teams research expansion. Yeah, because G5 ain't there. Or G6 ain't getting it because of the Sigmas. But, you G5ers out there who are rocking it. All right.
I didn't want to say anything in case that was a bug.
Yeah.
But yeah, mine don't cost Sigma.
Yeah, you G4 and G5s are making your way through that research tree very beautifully right now. There's a lot of officer research in there.
Well, we're still inhibited by the number of starts for the away teams, so it's not like we're rolling down the highway.
Oh, I get it. You are limited by starts, but I'm double gated, buddy. I'm double gated. All right. As soon as I get a start, then I can't. I get a start, and then I can't even get through it. So I'm still waiting on my rewards. All right. All that to say, though, is that officer sourcing is an area where they are trying to make improvements. That is obvious from the conversations that I've had and the design that they're building. So now we start to focus in on that. Hey, how about we remove the cooldowns from all of the officers then? We've got good officers. There's good officers in that faction store. Let's remind you. And by the way, I don't mean to spend a ton of time on this because this is week-old news, but I wanted to tell you how we came to the decision we did and why I give it an absolute 100% thumbs up endorsement. And even if some people are a little bit upset that they didn't do it for the artifacts, I get it. You can still do it just with the cooldown. You can still get those temporal disruptors every single day. You still can every single day. It's just not a free, unlimited floodgate. by the way, if you pull that thing every single day, you're still going to end up with a ton. Okay? You're still going to end up with a ton. So if that is a focus for you, keep max pulling it every day. If that is a focus for you. Okay? We're talking about Janeway's pocket watch, hypodermics, and the Krenim time weapon. If those temporal disruptors are still massively important to you, which they are to me, by the way, I'm not done with all my temporal artifacts. All right? So they're important to me. Then keep working on it. All right? Keep going. But officers, beer, great officer. Underdeck loot officer. All right? Unlimited pulls. You could max him today if you wanted. Dejosh Tolra, an Armada loot officer. And shot increase, by the way, as you tier her up. All right, so Armada loot gain as a captain's maneuver. And increase of shots as an officer ability that will improve as you tier her up. Okay?
The chance will improve of getting those shots. The number of shots won't change.
What did I say? I'm sorry. Did I say it backwards?
A little bit, but that's
and you're right. Chaos, Dejosh Torah also works against invading entities, which just happen to be some of the most challenging targets in the game today. Throwing that out there. All right. Who else you got? Mazriad Viel, the Borg Hue for Armadas. Borg Hue doesn't work against Armadas. Mazriad Viel does. All right. Those are 3 officers that exist inside this store that are massively important. Massively important. And I guess you could count Seska in that pool now too. All right? Seska does not have a cooldown anymore, and her officer ability, her below deck ability is basically a new enhanced Troy, isn't it, Karkin? Let me check. Increasing critical damage.
Yeah, per shot, but it's only for hostiles, not armadas.
Okay. Critical damage. So basically a second Borg Q. Or, sorry, a second Troy, but specified to hostiles only.
Similar, yeah. It's a build-up effect. More shots you do, the more you're going to get your crit damage higher.
Lost In says, as I said, so much goodness. I agree. All right. Riskbreaker says beer is great. Look at the loot that we're trying to pick up in augment space, guys. Absolutely. Loot officers, not a bad thing, ever. All right. So there's a lot of good here. And the fact that we are working on trying to push officer acquisition, then that was an angle we could push. I say all this in summary. Scopely might have knee-jerked on the original addition of cooldowns. Free DTI was a situation of their own making, Griffin, just like Galagate was. All right? If they had had this conversation, even with the Player Advisory Council, even with the moderators and content creators, even with the public, hey, this is something we're going to change in 2 weeks. You know what? I got to be honest with you. I'm just asking a question here. All right. Well, I might be wrong, but if they had publicly announced it and said, we're going to change this effective June 1st, they probably wouldn't have had to have reverted it at all.
Correct.
I mean, honestly, they probably wouldn't have even had to have reverted it at all. They would have given players notice. We would have grumbled.
Care of your argument.
Yeah. They would have given players notice. We would have grumbled, and life would have gone on. Engineering, thank you for your resub. Life would have gone on because no one would have been left holding worthless currency. We all would have prepped for the mechanical change. And this is something that I shared with them, and I'm saying it here publicly. If Scopely would be a little bit more transparent on this stuff, the community is actually a really good place to bounce ideas off of. You would not have had to roll anything back if you had just properly communicated this in advance so that people could have made adjustments to their gameplay. As what happens every single time a new officer comes out, every time a new ship comes out, every time a new anything comes out, Griffin, we make adjustments to our gameplay. new chaos tech, new forbidden technology. All right, new officers. Scopely should not be afraid to say, hey, we're thinking of doing X. How do you guys feel about that? By the way, we would probably find a lot of bugs if we did it that way. We would find a lot of these problems before launch. And so
I think a lot of people's understanding is that's the purpose of the Player Advisory Council. Is that not the case?
When they choose to communicate with us, sure.
Oh, okay.
All right. When they talk to us, yeah. Okay. But we didn't get any notice on that one either. All right. It slammed all of us like a surprise. Anyway, you're right, Adam. I don't want to spend too much time on the free DTI thing, but the reason I wanted to revisit it tonight from Tuesday was to actually give more insight into the decision, because while I would say 80 to 85% of people are satisfied with what you got, you do have some who are still upset. And I wanted to provide a little bit of insight. And I have always been transparent, and I've always owned my role. I've always owned my errors, and I've always owned my communication and my impact. I am famously known as purchasing 3-star crystal over John Harrison shards. I am famously known for spending $1,000 on a Mayflower. I am famously known for taking Neelix shards over forbidden technology shards. Okay, I don't always
unlocks of FT unlocks of important FT.
I don't always get it right. Okay, I don't always get it right, but I always own it. So I wanted to come out and own my role in this negotiation and why I have agreed to lay down my pitchfork and accept the DTI compromise as it was listed. It was largely, it was very cooperatively written, and I endorse it. And the only reason that I didn't push harder on the disruptors is because it is, that's right, Shelby, it's going to break something. It didn't break anything yet, but it's going to break something. All right. So that was why I eased up on that particular point. And I'm satisfied with what we came out with. We even took care of the Alliance tournament people. All right, which again was not number one on my priority list, but I knew it was important to some of you, and it's why we worked on it, and Scopely agreed, and we got it done. Okay? So
and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the full story of the unabridged DTI Accords.
There you go.
Just a summary.
Yes.
How did they help the Alliance tournament people? I missed that part.
They rolled back the auto conversion of temporal disruptors. So now you will continue to bank over shards of temporal artifacts, and you will be able to manually convert those if you so choose in bulk, maybe say during an Alliance tournament when you have a specific task active. Okay, doke. There you go. Next Alliance tournament's when? I do not have a date. I would imagine it's going to be soon. Andy says, but did our bank get converted? Yes, it did. It did. You have an opportunity to bank it back up. And by the way, I'm not insensitive to that, Andy. Putz was really, really mad about it. I get it. But there really is no fixing that. All right. What I do think that is probably going to happen, and I don't know if this, I don't think this has actually happened yet. I could be wrong. I'm going to find out. But I do believe that they are planning to issue a bundle of temporal disruptors, but that doesn't, again, it doesn't help the AT people. But I think they're going to plan to give some temporal disruptors just to kind of help people get a little bit of their banks back. All right. Andy says, give me my 5 free 10,000 point tasks back. Yeah, it's probably not going to be that much, bro. All right. But you still have the opportunity to build it up. You should be building it up. You've got, I think you've got 3 or 4 different things where you can be building them up. Okay. Right now. So keep building them up. You can do it. You can do it. All right. So there you go. That is that. One other thing that happened this week is the bulk refine, which That happened with mid-month patch. Let me tell you something about bulk refine.
Can we get a very like a celebratory sound effect for that bulk refine?
Bulk refine.
Like,
Let's
really good. There we go. Something like that, almost some more cheering.
Yeah, that is
quality.
True quality right there. We might even break out the cruise song. Bulk refine. Huge. Amazing. Beautiful.
I am so positive.
3 years in the making. Maybe 4. Come on, everybody. Everybody clap your hands. Everybody stomp your feet. Cha-cha real cool. All right, absolutely huge, Karkin. You're absolutely right. Beautiful, beautiful, amazing change with bulk refine. That is great. I agree. The next thing that I want, add it to the faction store. Add it to the faction store. Bulk refine is one of the most amazing things. I love it. I'm very happy with it. The fact, the way it's working, I think is almost perfect. I don't think there's really anything. Oh, we lost you, Griffin. I don't think there's anything that they could do to tweak that to make it really any better. The only thing that I have noticed is, if you don't have enough for the number, for example, if you take a look at my screen here, I have it set for the middle option, but I can only do the cheap option. It won't go back and pick up the cheap option. But I don't think I'm upset about that.
Change it, yeah.
I don't think I'm upset about
that.
Let's
also be clear, we're talking about bulk refines. People are confusing that in chat with the bulk building upgrades, which has its problems.
It does have its problems, which have not yet been fixed. Okay? That has not yet been fixed. So still be careful if you're crossing over 60. All right, that it will convert everything into Sigma. So that is still a PSA that still needs to happen. So be aware of that. Yeah, that's an ouchie. Jules Verne has still got about 88 days on one of his generators. Oh, ouchie. All right. So, yeah, they're still working on that. But the bulk refine is great. I made it through all of the refinery tabs today in literally 3-4 minutes. All right, which is really, really good. All right, I like that. Kevin says bulk refine does have the bug where it doesn't properly display all the rewards you get. Yes, but we have been able to provide evidence that it is, in fact, going to your inventory. So what I have noticed is a latency issue there, Griffin, and it's almost exactly the same as it is with the independent archives. You click a button, but you get like 3 or 4 pop-ups. Same thing as you do with like your gift chest. You click claim all, and you get 3 or 4 little things there. Hey, you know what?
Oh, yeah.
I feel like this is appropriate to say here today. I think this is a praiseworthy thing, and you know how I am about transparency. I don't think this is a violation of anything now that it's out in the game. Much like Claim All, the bulk refine was going to be gated behind a syndicate level in its original design. Pack was able to talk him out of that one.
As long as it's below what I'm at right now, I'm totally fine with that.
Well, it was gonna be 50. All right. It was gonna be.
Are you kidding?
Yeah, it was gonna be 50, and I was like, "Whoa, wait, hang on here a second." Yeah, I was like, "Whoa!" Listen, if you had done it under like 20 or 25, fine. All right, but it was going to be really high. But, again, this was a great conversation. It was a great conversation. And because they were building it, and they were like, listen, we're wanting to build the value of Syndicate, and there's going to be, this stuff that we're adding. And I'm like, yeah, but do you realize how far off that would be for somebody? It's not that I'm not there. I am. I'm at 53, for example. But, listen, 6-year players are not the only players. You got people downloading this game every single day. This level of quality of life is deserved by everybody. This is not content. Yeah. This is not a feature. This is quality of life. This is making the game tolerable and taking away some of the chores. All right? And by the way,
they may not get the same appreciation if they don't go all the way through it. So maybe they should have to,
you know what? Players today don't know the
the
pain of not having a cancel warp button either. All right, but they still have the benefit of a cancel warp. Okay?
That's so true.
How many, just real quick, ones in chat if you don't know what I'm talking about? Ones in chat if you never played the game when you punched the warp button, you were stuck for however long it took. There was no stopping it, no cancel, no stopping in the middle. Whatever your destination was, that's where you went. If it took 18 minutes, well, then your ship was gone for 18 minutes. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And by the way, you didn't even have the 5 seconds to hit cancel. You didn't even have the 5 seconds to hit cancel. If you so much as touched the warp button, it was gone.
And then you knew you had to send it back because it wasn't the right crew or right ship. So you had to.
Yeah. And it might have been going. It might have been going. Yeah, it was double. And even if you wanted to suicide it at that point, you might not have been able to suicide it. You might have been in a system that didn't have hostiles, or you might have had to burn a directive or whatever. Oh, man. And Swimbot says what makes it even worse, all right, was that the warp times were way worse back then. Oh, guys, on my level 8 account, I am 4 and 5 minutes in underspace, which we now call the basement, okay? Before faction space, I'm 4 minutes to get to a system in the basement.
Wow.
Okay? Imagine faction space back then without stop warp. God, that's right. The warp time, I don't remember. You know who? Tall Bear, you still here? Tall Bear was a day one player, and then he left the game for years and came back. How long was it for us to get to Kronos? How long was it to get to what's the grinding system in Klingon space? Tygo Core. Oh my God. Do you guys remember how long it took to get to Tygo Core?
That was like a 9-minute production.
It was 10 minutes, every bit of it. Or more. 9 minutes to Kronos. I mean, guys, it was enough time to recharge your phone, brew a cup of coffee, make a sandwich, take a poop, and then come back.
That's right.
All right. Good night in heaven. Players do not deserve that today. Karkin, you meanie. All right. And Pack was able to advocate for that. And that's just another example of something that Pack has been able to do. And Scopely's avoidance of something potentially bad by just communicating. I don't mean to reinforce or keep beating this horse. I'm just saying, like, that was something. That was great. Is there anything about bulk refine we don't like? Anything at all? There's no prerequisite. It's not gated behind anything. It seemingly works perfectly. What's wrong?
Some people are questioning whether does it have the same effect problem as the IA building where you're not getting your overflow of transporter patterns from officers?
I think
or
so.
Does that even come up anywhere?
No,
or is it this?
I think it does. I think it does.
So which one are we to avoid? Which one has officers that you're pulling in bulk?
We'll come back to it. The transporter patterns go nowhere. Shinjo, here's the thing. Again, just like we're talking about Syndicate 50, a lot of people aren't there. Brandig says that better get fixed immediately. Buddy, they haven't fixed Independent Archives yet. I've been asking for it. They haven't fixed that one yet either.
Well, like, what do people get out of the refinery? Like, I guess maybe Mantis and Cerritos? Like, that's not a lot.
No, there's not a ton of officer shards down there. I also think that there's Wharf. I think there's Honor Guard Wharf in there. Oh, no. You got more. You got
IA.
Okay, yeah, but you got NX01. You got NX01. You've got ISO Matter has officer shards.
Recent ones, but who's getting transporter patterns off those things? I guess some of the rares, maybe.
Not me.
Fair enough.
For sure. Definitely not.
I mean, I'm not, none of those epics are maps from, so.
All right, yeah, Vindicator. Yeah.
Still a ways off.
So I mean, listen, it is a problem. I agree, Brandig. It is a problem. It needs to be fixed. The Independent Archives need to be fixed. Okay? I agree. And you're right, Corey. It's only a problem once you're getting patterns. So you're still pulling the officers, like you're getting the officers. All right. Nick says, I do like the bulk pull idea, but I won't be using it. Oh, God, why? It's way better than it's like on the list of pros and cons. It's way better. Okay. But that being said, you do have the choice, right? Because it's essentially opt in. You don't have to do it. The fact is, there's no prerequisite on anything. It's great. And I love it. And I appreciate what Pac was able to do. And I appreciate Scopely for talking to Pac about it and removing any kind of prerequisite. They just offered it as a straight up QOL. And guess what? They should be praised for that. And I hope that you do. Listen, surveys are about to come out. All right? And I know it's been a rough month. I have every bit of understanding in players' frustration, Griffin, with the technical implementation problems this month. I get it. And you should not be silent about it. Okay? You should be courteous about it, but you should not be silent about it. Okay?
Well, here's the thing. They already know that the implementation, the rollout sucked. They know that engineering gets an F for this rollout. They felt it. They lived it. It's not, it's universally a 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
So you can lament on that and you can, make that your whole argument in your surveys, or you can just understand, that note's already been given and taken.
Yeah.
And let's focus on what happened in the game this month that actually made it incrementally better for you.
Exactly.
That would be my advice.
We can't gloss over, we can't ignore what they did good, because these are things that we want them to continue being able to do. Okay. So, I'd put one sentence in there. Engineering was just a complete, it was a sorry state of affairs this month. But you know what I did like? I liked bulk refine.
The bulk refine that I found,
yeah, go ahead,
is the conversion store, because you're not sliding back to the front trying to get through your 9 or 10 refines that you're doing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
What conversion store? What are you talking about? What?
Mirror universe is really bad. It takes you all the way back to the beginning every single time you click one. That one was really bad. What is another one? There was another one that's really, really bad for that. Not artifacts. Forbidden Tech will take you all the way back to the beginning. It's very, very annoying. So yeah. Now see this right here. Now I'm assuming the Dragon Keeper is just being an antagonist. He says, "What good have they done this month? Trash."
Oh, come on.
I think he's just being a trash keeper. All right. But yeah, you got to focus on the things that they've done good. For example, you know what else they've done great this month? And by the way, I haven't forgot about you, Destros. We're going to pull you up here in just probably about 10 or 15 minutes, all right, for our teaching segment. This is the last thing that I want to focus on here real quick. And yeah, we could talk about the loop being great, Corey, which we have. We've talked a lot about the loop being great. There's no real need for us to talk a great deal about that tonight. It's super grindy, but great. All right. The fact that it's grindable. I am reminded of a comment that I'm debating now whether or not I want to read, because I'm beside myself with disagreement. But it is an opinion that a lot of people have. I just feel.
Well, I think you should share it.
Okay.
You can't censor opinions.
Okay.
No, he can.
I can, but you're right. We never do. All right. Let me find it. So the opinion I was I don't even want to give any context. This was the comment. All right. Many people, all right. Nobody likes this scope. I'm just going to read it. Nobody likes this Scopely. 4 loops within a loop. In what world does this constitute fun gameplay?
Well, that's just a person who doesn't understand the context of the loop.
I'm still picking and choosing here.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah.
Okay.
A shiny spot would be the officer efficiency pieces in the away team store and the away team's research tree. This is what people want. It's too bad that you hit it behind an absolutely miserable and insufferable grind. I'm not going to read any more. Now, I was beside myself with disagreement here. I wanted to say, where's the gun that Scopely is holding to your head? I'll save you. That's what I wanted to say. And then I thought, this is the reason that Scopely puts time gates on things. This is the reason that we have pay gates and time gates on content. This is the reason that even Mr. Tiger said in our interview on Thursday that there's the moral dilemma for him as a designer to make something that is completely grindable because of that opinion, which, by the way, he's not alone. He's absolutely not alone. There's a lot of people that share that opinion. All right? My opinion is we've begged for this type of grindable design. Why do you think you were meant to unlock it in a day? Or 2 or 3 or a week? This is why Scopely has to save players from themselves. No one said that this had to be done quickly. No one said that you had to get to 60 million reputation in days. No one said that you had to grind out max reputation.
To catch the podcast audience up, it's universally agreed upon, based on fact, that this is essentially from top to bottom a completely free-to-play loop, month, arc, based on the amount of effort in the grind you'd like to play into it. That will determine your rate of speed at which you can attain things. But even all of the temples are in one way or another completely grindable and not hidden behind a paywall. You just need to invest your time. And to that point, I don't agree with DJ's retort there, which is knee-jerk, which is where's the gun held to your head that you have to do it, because that sort of in a way justifies the argument on its premise. I disagree with the argument, which is the grind isn't even really that bad once you understand how to engage in it the right way.
I would actually agree with that. I would agree with that. But it still underscores a concern that Scopely has talked about for years and years. And in my opinion, the reason we don't get these kinds of mechanics often enough. And it's because of that mentality. And I don't necessarily, you're right. It is very editorial tonight. Who said that? I see it in the chat. We are a little bit more editorial tonight. We do have some teaching coming up, though. So I apologize for that. But there was a lot that happened in the last 7 days, and I just felt like there was a reason to address it. I'm sorry. The toxic one of them is now following. Welcome to the channel. All right.
If you want editorial, I'll just say one more thing. If you want an editorial, here's your editorial. How happy? What?
Oh, do it. Give the editorial.
How happy or grumpy or miserable you choose to be is in no small part dependent upon your source of content from which pond you wish to drink from.
Sure. Because
you could look at a month like this and you can be poisoned with, oh my God, 4 loops. Oh, the grind. Oh, da, da. Or you could go to a place of enlightenment and education where you learn how to engage in it the right way and realize, oh, not only is it not so bad after all, but it's actually everything that we've hoped for and more in many ways. Yeah. So you choose your state of mind based on, just like grade school DJs, your friends.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. And that's actually a really, really good point. We'll wrap with that. Bel Air, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be ranty. I haven't been ranty in a long time because we've always had stuff, and I don't know. I was feeling ranty tonight. By the way, I do have an update for you. This is an announcement that I just now got from Dev Chat, so I don't even think it's been pushed yet, but I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. For the Q's Trials Hostels, you guys are getting your compensation chest that will be sent out by tomorrow night. The gift will include 2,200 emergency field rations and 50 trial bells. These are for players who were affected by the new level 70 traders that were thrown into Q's Trials. If you still have one of the ultra rough hostels that is queued up in your Q's Trials, then you are going to have to open a support ticket for them to complete that. Con, as what I was just saying, when are they going to remove them from your queue? You're going to have to open a support ticket. Good. Do know that there has been a high volume of tickets. Customer support response times may be longer than usual, but they are going through all of them. So please be aware that if you don't get an answer within the traditional 24 hours, it could be a little bit longer than that, and you've got a weekend coming up. So please be aware of that. Also, this is a good announcement as well. If you unlocked the incorrectly labeled Prime Augment Research node that was actually the Ship XP node in the ATA store, please open a ticket, and they will give you 12,000 Pioneer Crest back to your account if you did that research. That's a very, very fair compensation right there. So they'll do that for you, and you'll just need to do a ticket. Count DeVille says it has been a little while since a ticket was opened and closed by the bot. That is happening a little bit here, but just try to bear with it. All right, it is happening because there is just so many. It's been a rough month. But if that's the case, just be patient. But those are rolling out. All right.
Great update.
Yeah, there you go. And that is live straight from Dev Chat that I just got here just a couple of moments ago. Okay, last positive thing that I want to introduce, and this is more, you know what? Here's a teaching thing. Just as a quick reminder, we see the return different skin, all right, but the exact same mechanic that we just praised here only last month. That is Khan's Officer Depot. Matters very quickly, and I am putting you on the cusp here, and I know you don't have the math prepared, but we can absolutely do some math on this a little bit later this weekend if you guys so choose. But do be sure that you are visiting your event store every day to claim Khan's Officer Depot gift. You there will receive a chance at 1,500, 4,000, 20,000, or the lottery shot at 100,000 Officer Depot tokens for you then to come in to the event store and be able to pull your choice of literally half a dozen or more different groups of officers, where the overall selection is over 100 officers. Okay? Again, Matters, just like we saw last month, my expectation is that everybody is going to predominantly get the 1,500, and there's going to be a few strokes of luck out there, and there's going to be somebody who hits the lottery. Mathematically, they did not put the eyeball on this one, but I am told that the math was very similar to the last one that we ran. All right? In which mathematically, out of the 12 pulls that you're going to get, mathematically, they should all be 1,500, with the exception of one pull that mathematically, statistically indicates that you will get 4,000 or higher. Okay? This is exactly like the same one that we had last month, Griffin, where we expect players to end up finishing this thing with approximately 20,000 Officer Depot tokens, between 20 and 24. Okay?
I mean, I'm a huge fan because I hit the jackpot twice last month.
What?
Let's go.
Oh, you hit it twice last month. I haven't yet, but I still got 10 more days. Okay? And so
I
if
got,
you...
4,000 today.
Very good. All right, very good.
Yeah.
Engineering says the math is 18. No. engineering. That is if you get the guaranteed minimum every single day. Mathematically, you should get the minimum 11 days with, and I'm counting 4,000 on one day. Now, anybody who hits a 20, you're automatically north of that. All right. Anybody who hits the 100, well, we don't need to talk to you. All right. Mathematically, all right, then it would be between 20 and 24 on average. I agree, though, that we here on this show have traditionally not gone with the average, but have gone with the guaranteed minimum. The guaranteed minimum is 18,000. And we are predicting that most players are going to finish between 20 and 24,000. That is our prediction here from the Talking Trek Laboratory. And then, obviously, there's going to be players like Remick, who hit 100,000 today.
Hey, congrats.
Yeah, that's
Well, there you go.
Congratulations. Yeah, and by the way, that is just, you're right, Carissa, that's just from the poll. You obviously have the meta that's going on as well. So be sure that you are claiming these 20,000. And I might add, all right, that there are some great officers in here. Let's say you got 20,000. All right, and that does not include the meta. You're right, Shadow Fox. Let's say you got 20,000. That's 5 Anorak shards. All right. That could be 5 George O shards. On Rachel Garrett, a rare officer, it's closer to like 14 or something like that, which is a nice payday. I might also point out that we don't see the traditional 6,000, 2,000 thing here. I think the math still holds. We've got 4,000 and 1,300. Is that still like a 33% thing? Matters?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the value is still roughly equivalent there, but you've got some great stuff here. Matters just for logging in, and this is exactly how it was last month. Just for logging in, clicking the claim button, you're pulling anywhere between 5 and 15 officer shards. Is there anything not to like about something like that?
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't think so. And again, a positive thing that should be stuck into your caps when it comes survey time, guys. And again, I don't mean to be shill. You know, I'll wrap up this whole first segment with this, Griffin. There's been so much that's happened this month that would make people upset. All right, there really has. There's been a lot. The engineering, it's just been bad. And then, you know, you had the DTI thing, which they fixed. But, you know, just lots of stuff that just could have really foobarred sentiment. Did foobar sentiment this month. It's always important for me to strike balance with that. Yes, there's stuff that we're upset about, but let's not ignore the good feedback. Beck says it all the time in her videos, you know, like, listen, please leave your comments, good or bad. All right, because we need the good too. All right, we need the good too. And I'm going to point out that much like the last time we saw this event, if you are interested in Khan's Officer Depot, there is still that meta event, and I'm assuming that this pack is $15 again. Please tell me they didn't raise it. Is it still $15, Matters?
I think so.
Okay. If you go, it is 15. Khan and Swimbot says that it is indeed $15, which is great. All right. If you go into your pay store, you can get $15, which they did just like they did last time. And it will provide you a bunch of extra loot, a bunch of extra of the Officer Depot tokens that will allow you to pull even more shards. Look here at the 4th milestone. Outside of the meta, what are we talking? 100, there's 80, 102. You're talking 125,000 more Officer Depot tokens for $15. Now, just real quick, and again, not justifying it, just showing the math. What do we normally see, say, 20 epic shards go for in a $100 pack?
Yeah,
about 20, 25.
Depends on how many shards the officer unlock is usually. It's usually about a quarter of an officer.
Okay.
Or sorry, a fifth of the officer.
So would it be weird for me to tell you that $15 would actually potentially buy you 60 epic officer shards?
That would be very weird. I don't believe you. That is too good. There's no way Scopely is going to do it.
Well, here to tell you, folks, that it is indeed here. I will find it for you. Here we go. Cons, Officer, Depot, Premium, Cash, Unlock. 14.99. The number. Now, by the way, it just unlocks that Premium Cash. You still have to complete Cons Meta. Okay? Because you got to get all 4 of the right here. Cons, Officer, Depot Meta. You got to hit all 4 of the milestones. All right? 900 points. 9 events. Okay? You got to, or not events, but claiming the chest 9 times. By the way, it's not even an event. I mean, it is an event, but you're not doing anything. You get to log in, Griffin, claim the bundle, and that gives you 100 points. That's it. A click.
I don't know what you're talking to me for because as far as I know, I'm not allowed to buy it.
This is not technically a feature. I would allow you. I would permit you. Me, now obviously the community has to agree. I would permit you to purchase this $15 cash.
Look at Cruzito. Cruzito, you know, I liked you better when you were on the Ambien last week. Can we get you back? Can we get positive Cruzito, please?
No, this is not the feature. We didn't say he couldn't spend any money. We said he couldn't spend money on the feature. Okay?
That's true. This is not the feature.
This is not a feature. Okay? This is not a feature.
Stuff.
Oh, see, Don Zeno says I can.
TJ says
Government says no. Icewolf says no.
Oh my goodness.
We said no money.
What?
Man,
Risk breaker.
What a bunch of haters.
We didn't actually say no money. We never said no money.
Let me officially post the request for a poll.
No.
So everything's official.
No, because people are going to want to. All right, you know what? We'll put up a poll.
No, we're not polling it. We're going with what we said.
It's not a feature.
Was buying the feature, and this is not the feature.
This is not the feature.
It's just old officer shards.
No, it did not say Dragon Keeper. Here, you guys want to see it? I'm pretty sure I still have it. Let me see if I can find it.
Ryan says I should only spend money on Dr. Pepper flavored Ghost Energy. I can't even buy that yet,
Ryan. That's amazing. Let me see if I can find it in my list of stuff from Tarpy. Tarpy was the one who sent it to me. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, here we go. I've got it. All right, I'm going to pull this up. This is the updated one here, guys. Right here. Take a peek at this. All right. It says Griffin doesn't get to buy or upgrade the feature of the May arc. Okay.
Oh, I'm off the hook on that one.
You're off the hook on the officer. There it is. There we got him, everybody. Boom. That's right. Let him cook. All right. It's not a feature of the arc.
There you go. What a happy day.
How does that feel? Does that feel good? Does that feel
All
good?
is right in the world again.
Does it specifically say with money? Because if not, that might mean he's not allowed to click on anything in the Augment store.
Oh, stop it.
Wow.
So funny. It does say the feature, okay? That being
say the feature.
That being said, guys, there's the math on that, all right? And you know, I'm not, again, let me give you my disclaimer. I'm not endorsing. I'm not saying you should buy, but we always analyze packs. We always tell you the smashes and the passes. We always tell you what's good and what's not, what you should pick up and what you should ignore. If you've got $15 this month, it could be good for as many as 60 epic shards. And what is that now? Over 150 rare shards? Is that right? Guys, look at this math. 125,000 divided by, what was it, 1,320? 100. 94. 94 rare shards, 60 epic shards. I mean, holy smokes. And it's a great month, by the way. A great month for you to consider using your de-sealing rod fragments on the treasury, because inside the treasury even is not only 20 quasi shards, but another 160,000 Officer Depot tokens.
By Grabthar's Hammer DJs. What a value.
What a value. All right. The implementation of choice here is what I want to praise. And I want that to be very, very noticed and hopefully appreciated by the players and remembered when it comes time for survey things.
And speaking of value, Ultimate DJs, on the other side of this break, since we do like to educate the masses out there on what to buy, what not to buy, what is a good value, what is not a good value, there were 2 primes announced today in the game, one today, one tomorrow. And on the other side of the break, I'd like to discuss them both in this special little whale email that went out, and what I think about these 2 primes and what you should, or what I might buy and what I might not buy.
And on top of that, we've got Destros here with a very special presentation into Fleet Commander Khan. A lot of you guys are going to actually be able to acquire him free to play, and others have already purchased him this month. Where do you dump your skills, and what is good when it comes to Fleet Commander Khan? Destros is here with a complete breakdown of Fleet Commander Khan and your general Fleet Commander strategy when we return right here on the stage of Talking Trek, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast. We'll be back right after this brief message. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back into the show, everybody. My name is UltimatDJz. This is Talking Trek, Star Trek Fleet Command's official podcast. Appreciate you guys one and all for being here in our live studio audience, where tonight, Griffin, we are looking at a beautiful, wonderful, amazing live studio audience of 398 individuals.
What's going on, Space Nerds? Thanks for joining us on this beautiful Thursday night here in the country, DJ.
We appreciate all of you guys being here. Kill You says only 398. I mean, that's a pretty solid number, bro. Just saying. It's a pretty good number, okay? We appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you very much for being here. Couple of thank yous. Toxic, one of them. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome in. Anonymous gifted a sub a few minutes ago, Griffin, to stupid-ish username. Thank you for that very much. Cottontail, thank you for the raid. Good evening. How are you? Welcome in. Hope you had a wonderful stream yourself. Thank you so very much. Yeah, it says anonymous. Just says anonymous. I don't know who it is. Lost in, thank you for dropping 3 gifted. And then, of course, Cottontail coming in with a big follow. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you so very, very much. Good evening, everybody. We've had a lot on the docket for tonight. And one of the things that I want to talk about here is a little bit of what to do content, the teaching piece of this. We are going to circle back to comms on primes with Griffin coming up here in just a few moments. But first, ladies and gentlemen, from server 32, Ops 68, ladies and gentlemen, Destros is on the stage. What's up, my man? How you doing?
How's it going, guys?
Appreciate you being here.
We're doing great.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate you being here. Listen, I might have missed a message from. Never mind. I see it. I'm going to pull that up, ladies. Oh no.
Perfect.
Oh no.
What did you do now?
I've got to turn off. Hang on. I got to turn off. Where's the thing for me? Oh, there it is. I got to turn off dark mode in order for you to be able to see this thing here. Hang on. Relaunch. Yeah, I have my browser in dark mode, so anytime anyone ever sends me a presentation, it's all foobarred up because I'm in dark mode. So here, let's pull that up. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in literally eons and eons, Destros, a feature has been completely grindable in its introductory arc. Not everybody's happy about it, but some people are. And for those who are willing to put in the inordinate amount of time, all right, because it does, in fact, take a lot of time. It takes a lot of hostels, takes a lot of clicking, all right? But for those of you who are willing to do it, and those of you who have the patience and the energy and the willpower to get in and do that, then what you have the opportunity to do here is to, in fact, unlock Fleet Commander Khan. That's right. Can you believe it?
Oh, wow.
Can you just believe
Absolutely.
it? It's incredible news for grinders everywhere, Destros, which means that unlike a lot of paid features in the game, players do not have to wait the traditional 100 days to unlock an incredible feature with this month, which is, in fact, Fleet Commander Khan. But if that's the case, what do we need to know? How do we use Khan? What is he good for? What should we be looking for? Destros, our resident expert on Fleet Commanders, please tell us all about Fleet Commander Khan.
Sure, but before we get started, DJ, I think it's time for a hydrate.
Oh, thank you. Destros, what are you hydrating with here this evening? What are you?
Blue Raspberry Sour Patch Kids, soon to go out of continuation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So blue
Pouring out for your
raspberry
homies.
Sour Patch Kids, Ghost Energy. Be sure to check that out. 200 milligrams of natural caffeine, 1,000 milligrams of carnitine, less than 10 calories, no sugar for legendary energy, epic focus, and none of the crash. Pick yours up today on Amazon. Use an exclamation point Amazon to do all of your normal everyday shopping and support the Talking Trek channel in the process while hydrating yourself with an amazing Ghost Energy in your choice of over 24 flavors. Thank you very much, Destros. Appreciate that. Can you believe it? You can get Ghost Energy and support the channel. All right. It's absolutely amazing.
For the price of one, it's never been better.
There you go. All right. Destros, tell us a little bit about Fleet Commander Khan. What's the big deal with this guy?
Certainly. So if you want to go ahead and head over to the next slide and we can get started here. So this month, Scopely decided they wanted to introduce Fleet Commander Khan as our latest and greatest, a long line of Fleet Commanders. We'll see that Khan is just like he is in the feature that he was first seen. He's a visionary, he's an extremist, and he's an absolute overseer of everything and anything related to PvP as far as Fleet Commanders go. So the first thing we're going to talk about is his 2 sourcing paths. And the first one of those is going to be on the next slide here, where, as DJs mentioned at the start, guys, he is 100% free to play grindable as soon as you hit that superior with the augments. He has absolutely no cooldowns on his exchanges. So what does it take to get him unlocked once you hit that superior? Here on the side, I have listed, it's only 50,000 hijacked insignias, but that does come at a little bit steep of a necessity. As we've mentioned, these new augment exiles will drop a very specific loot chest that only awards champions trophies, which will depend on the size of the hostile you're hitting and which class, be it one of the regular hostiles or the transports. So for each generation or each version of these cons champions that we need to hit to get that um, those hijacked insignias, I've put here how many of those champion trophies you'll need at Superior to get him with no other shards present. So you would need 600,000 champions trophies if you're going to be doing it off of the cadet version of the cons champions, going all the way down to 90,000 if you're players like Canine Tooth or Istio Cat or uh, others who are able to hit those nightmares, which are those 4.7 trillion sized explorer class cons champions. Um, and as a reminder, Superior is that 60,000 rep point or 60 mil rep point, which we've seen people be absolutely crazy and hit it in the first couple days, with others reaching it as early or as soon as today. And if we continue on here, the other version of this chest is going to be the sourcing for his uh, skill points. Again, also with no cooldowns. Something real neat here is that uh, as you're doing both of these chests, you're not only getting augment reputation, which is that augment points, but you're also getting Joaquim efficiency or affinity, which is the unique currency we need in order to tier up our boy Joaquim as you get those shards for him. Uh, Math indicates that the unlocking of Fleet Commander Khan through this method is going to give you enough efficiencies to get him to tier 3 with some banked over left for tier 4. And if we go ahead and continue, we'll see that the second sourcing that we have available for Fleet Commander Khan is going to be through our priority 1 away teams. If you unlock the conquest assignments shown here, where it's got a dependency of having unlocked the epic priority 1 away teams first, it does give you that small chance of getting those priority 1 conquest assignments, which will award you both Fleet Commander Khan, some officer shards, as well as the potential for you getting some Fleet Commander skill points from him from this method as well, with the crit chance being a full epic officer unlock. And as a reminder, these class of priority 1 away team assignments are using regular away team speed ups, not the Sigma. So G6 aren't being forced to spend 15 days or whatever your time may be for getting these done. So that's something real awesome. So now that we've talked about how we get him and how we can get his skill points, let's go ahead and talk about what he does. So on this next slide, we see here that the very first tree he has available to him is going to be Visionary. Some of the buffs that you'll see scattered throughout here are going to be some officer stats, some Apex Shred and crit chance versus hostiles, Apex Barrier versus players, cloaked crit damage versus players, and very cool introduction into the game is going to be conditional status effect application. This is a way of you getting a second type of combat buff, be that burning, hull breach, and morale, applied to yourself or the enemy, depending on if you meet the appropriate circumstances. And then this is where his active ability is located, which is going to be a massive amount of crit damage versus players. Here in the chart, we've got listed all the different levels of all the abilities located within this tree, as well as their cost requirements, which we'll talk about more later because there's something very unique to Khan that I'm sure some players who've already gotten him have seen. In his second tree, here we see that this is his extremist tree. The buffs located in this guy are repair cost efficiency, which is probably the least appealing to players because it's not exactly the most combat effective. But for players entering into G6 early, this could be a great way of you reducing those titanium costs to help you finish maxing out those G5 ships, or also keeping your cost of your G6 ships low while you still have a lower income, be you using an uncommon or your early days of the rare where you're trying to get it tiered up so you can get to your cube. it could be a nice little way of adding some repair cost efficiency to keep saving some of that Sigma titanium that we know is so valuable. Other buffs that are extremely valuable in this tree are going to be Apex Barrier and stacking crit damage versus hostiles, isolated damage and Apex Shred versus players, and then also isolated damage and Apex Barrier in arenas, with some ISO defense when you get hit by a player and ISO damage during base defense, which is also probably a little bit less appealing to players because it's station combat that's got other ways of dealing with it that don't necessarily need investment in here. In here is also part of as Mr. Doman and Mr. Tiger talked about, another tool into making survey combat effective, which is that survey specific crit damage reduction versus players. It doesn't make nearly as much of a dent, but it is, they said, starting to build those tools to make survey combat potentially interesting again. And then his last and final tree before we get talking about what makes him so unique is going to be that Overseer tree. This one's got whole health for all ships, crit chance and crit damage versus players, 10 rounds of ship-specific damage increase versus players, ISO defense reduction upon crit versus players, Apex Shred versus players upon crit, and then whole health regen, very similar to your PQs or your other sources of regen versus players. And then another perhaps less desirable trade here is going to be that ISO damage versus stations.
There's something that I want to.
What does all of this really mean?
Yeah, let me ask you a question here, Destros, because and real quick for those in the podcast audience, we've posted the entire presentation in the timestamp is 10:21 p.m. Eastern time. But as we're going through and Destros is talking about some of these skills, let's back up here for just a second. A couple of things that stick out to me, Destros. When we look at the first tree, Visionary, we see some of the officer stats. All right, I want to call out attention to this one first. Officer stats. First of all, Griffin, officer stats hugely important right now with the introduction of new Priority 1 ATAs. The stat requirements have gone way up, and you are looking for any and all methods of improving your officer stats. Dr. Muffin says, do officer stats impact ATA? Oh, you betcha. Absolutely.
They are the most important way to excel in ATAs, and this is one of the best ways ever introduced in the game to increase your officer stats, along with the research and the research tree. If you got them both at the same time, bam, that's how you're really taking advantage of these new Priority 1 ATAs.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking here. Now, granted, this is at a max skill, but level 1, skill level 1 starts at 250%. All right. Now, by the way, you've got a lot. Right, you could look at next.spox.club and see how much you've actually got. Nero's Trident is another really good one. Stradalorian, good call. But at tier 1 or level 1 of this skill, it's 250%. Guys, we at 15, it's 1,250%. Now that's obviously at level 15. It's probably got a high requirement, but and it's probably going to be expensive, but 1,250% increased officer stats. Guys, this is the key to unlocking guaranteed success with Priority 1 ATAs. All right. That's absolutely huge. The other thing that Jules was talking about the other night, Destros, you had mentioned it, a chance to apply a second state in PvP. These, for example, Griffin, would be if the opponent player is burning, then you've got a chance to apply morale to your own ship. All right. So it's not guaranteed. As a matter of fact, that skill will top out at 40. Okay. But that is still a chance to be able to do that. That's going to give you an opportunity now to possibly, perhaps, build in a couple of lower decks with the retaliation crew, perhaps. On round start. And by the way, these are round start, not combat start. On round start, okay, you're looking at if the opponent has hull breach, you've got a chance to apply burning to them as well. Now, the chat points out that the DTI headquarters at Ops 56 has 1,690% officer stats. So the chat claims that the officer stats are diluted. I don't know if I'd go that far. At 1,250 on top of 1,690, I mean, you're almost a net double. That's going to be a net increase of roughly 80%. All right, so that's not
Well, there's the two
bad at all.
primes at 100. You got your other commanding officers or fleet commanders who have other officer boosts. It's slightly diluted, but it's not nothing.
Oh, it's definitely not nothing. I mean, we used to see
So
this.
what I did want to point out about this officer stats is, DJs, didn't you say the other day that you failed a priority 1 away team that was in the 80 or 90 percentile range?
I sure did, daggone it. I failed an 87%er. Womp womp.
So that means that even with as diluted of a pool as we have for officer stats, that it is still entirely possible to fail these guys just because we don't have enough stats. So diluted or not, a net increase of even 10% is still going to make a huge impact on these priority 1 away teams when we're seeing that the officer stats on our ships are like 4 million.
Yeah. Yeah, listen,
Like
you
a
know,
million or 2 million for many of the officers, but
I don't
off the ship,
disagree.
they're nowhere close to that.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree. There's other researches. There's other researches for just about every metric in this game. There's no way. Well, yeah, with the introduction of something like shred, okay, there's very little that Scopely can do to not introduce a research that might possibly be diluted. I invite you to remember, Griffin, going back, say maybe 2 to 3 years before Scopely realized. Maybe it was 4 years before Scopely really grasped onto and the community was able to make enough traction with the quote unquote law of diminishing returns. Do you remember all the content we had to do on that? We made videos. We had to share. We had to literally scream it from the mountaintops, no pun intended, to get them to understand that newer research is needed to be scaled. Imagine this, Destros. You remember when this all happened. Imagine if a new prime today. Imagine if a new prime came out today and offered 100% officer stats boost. What would that prime be worth?
I'd laugh at it.
Yeah, we would laugh at it.
Well, that's obviously just the first level of the multi-tier prime. That's like 10 levels, right?
Yeah, we would
Exactly
we would still laugh at it. Okay, that's the thing.
Yeah,
At least
unless
these
it was
things
like
are
a
scaling.
multi-tier prime like the ones we've been getting now.
Yeah, these things are scaling. They've scaled it up. So 1,250%. I mean, not nothing. I mean, not the end all be all, but enough to make
How
a
much are the
very
new away teams
sizable difference.
researches in the very first part in the away teams research, that new stuff? How much is that?
I actually don't know. Griffin, can you take a look in the officer stat ATA research and see where that thing would cap out? There are a number of other things inside this visionary tree I like. Looking inside extremists, you had mentioned Apex Barrier. Shiz says that the stat research itself goes to 1,200%. Okay, so wait, you're telling me that the research offers 1,200%, and now we've got a skill that offers 1,200%. So really, truthfully, free to play, we got 2,400% officer stat boost with the con loop. Okay, sign me up. I'll take it. I'll take that. I'd buy that for $1. You get it?
All you guys out there with cubes who have difficulty filling the officer stats, 2,400% for any one stat isn't it's not negligible, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. Looking at the third tree, something that I wanted to point out here, Griffin. I know that we go back and forth when we talk about damage stats, but damage got a little bit of a facelift with the introduction of Isolytic Cascade. All right, because now damage increase, while it itself was a very diluted stat, any addition you could get to damage was beneficial because of Isolytic Cascade. Well, now in the Overseer tree, on combat start, you could increase your PvP damage for 10 rounds by as much as 1,600% on a skill.
Whoops.
Now, that, by the way,
That's equivalent to most FTs nowadays.
I was going to say, by the way, that is not as big as it might sound. All right, because we have multiple thousands of damage percent of damage boost in the game today. But 1,600 is not nothing, especially when all of our PvP crews center around Isolated Cascade and Hull Breach, which now you can do Hull Breach and Burning on the same ship. All right, there's a lot. I mean, Fleet Commander Khan is, well, I don't want to say he's overkill, but holy smokes, does he have some massive PvP capabilities. And you know, ordinarily, Griffin, I would fuss. I'd be like, oh, it's too much of a difference maker. It's OP. Except he's not a paid feature. Everybody can have him literally right now, depending on your level of grind. So if it's available to everybody, I'm not fussy about how OP he is. Now, this does go in the complete opposite direction of what we need to be doing to be restoring balance in PvP, but he's definitely powerful. Definitely significant. Cruzito points out there's lots of reduction of damage research, and then there's, of course, forbidden technologies and chaos techs, too. So Khan is doubling down on all of these things. He is significantly potent in a lot of areas. PvP being near the top of that list, Destros.
I heard he's got a lot of prerequisites. Where are we looking at for those? What do you got to do to get what you
That's
want
coming
to get?
soon. Don't worry, Kark.
Okay.
So what I did want to talk about before we kept going was I did reach out to some more PvP inclined players like K9 Tooth and like Cruzito about what they think about Khan's abilities as it pertains to PvP. And both of them said that unanimously across the board, there is nothing bad in this tree as it pertains to PvP combat. He is on par with what Lorca did for us as far as efficiencies go in the field of PvP. So if you thought Lorca was OP for efficiencies, then by all means, Khan fits that exact same boat for PvP. Because there's nothing here that, while some of these things may or may not be diluted, they are in sufficient numbers where it still is going to make a significant impact on our PvP abilities. So now let's talk about what Karkin was trying to get to, which is the dependencies and requirements. And guys, I can't believe it. He has a unique high-level dependencies. This is akin to what we see in research trees, where it is going to force you to level abilities in order for you to keep progressing in one. Here we've taken the example of Wrath of Khan, his active ability, where it shows that to take it any higher than level 10, you need to have the three special unique status applying conditions also to level 12 to then continue progressing. So the math on that is going to come out to where, in order to max out Wrath of Khan, you need to dump 2188 skill points in each of the three shown dependencies for a total of 6,500 skill points. The ability itself to max costs 11,334 skill points. So to max out his active ability, which is only one high-level example of these dependencies, it takes you almost 18,000 skill points at a base cost. With your maximum current possible efficiencies for skill points being 57%, following the same efficiency model that we've always seen for everything else, you're only going to be getting 23,625 skill points when you take on from level 1 to 100. So in the world where this is what you want from him, where you want his active ability good and ready to go at full blast from day one, you're talking about, what is that? North of 60% of the skill points you get just from leveling him in order to get his Wrath of Khan ability up to maximum, which me personally, as a non-PvP player, is not where I would go first. But this just shows that in basically any of his PvP segments, he's going to have these kind of high-level dependencies where you have to level the one it's connected to in lockstep with the one that you want. So An example that I have fresh off the top of my head is I like the ISO damage versus players in arena. That one has a dependency of the survey crit damage reduction ability. So I'm investing skill points into a less valuable node so that I can get the one that I want. And that is going to mean that our skill points needed to max him are actually going to be very interlocked and interdependent. So we can't just, like we did with Khan, go into the efficiency tree, pick one, max it out, and then move on to whatever else we want. We're going to be doing 2, maybe 3 these nodes at a time to max out ones that we might be interested in.
Now, at first
And
thought, that almost sounds a little bit scary. If you're looking at, 18,000 skill points to max out the Wrath of Khan ability. All right, 18,000 skill points when you can only earn 23,000 from him just by leveling. And that's, by the way, if you can max him. We see some people in the chat, Danny saying, some of the credits that are need to level him up are a pain. Those are ops locked as well. Like, you can't even get the epic credits, I think, before ops
G5,
50.
you have to be 51.
Yeah, 51. Okay, I couldn't remember if it was 50 or 51. And so, that's a thing. However, Khan says, listen, DJ, don't forget, like Khan himself, the skill points are completely unlimitedly grindable. And that is something else that I point out. When I look at this design, Destros, I'm not wildly upset. The dependencies are inconvenient, but they're not infuriating because we have a free and unlimited and non-time gated source of skill points. Let me say that again.
Absolutely. Like I pointed out before, that alternative Cons champion chest, it gives you basically as many skill points as you want at your own pace and your own speed.
That's right.
So
No cooldowns.
maybe you're somebody who decided to buy him this month, like Griffin can do. Well, then when you get to the superior point where you can actually utilize that chest, you can go ahead and just dump all of those tokens that you've been banking into skill points, and then it alleviates some of the pressure or concern that this dependency has. It's not, like you said, it's not something that should scare players away from investing in Khan. It's just something to be cognizant of, that we haven't seen this before with other fleet commanders where
That's right.
you have to level abilities in lockstep.
Another thing that we haven't seen before, though, is exactly what the chat is saying, is the grinder's perspective on this. Now, again, all of this that we have talked about, the praiseworthy design, the Khan skill points, the unlocking of Khan himself, I do not want to undersell the effort required to get to 60 million reputation. All right, I am not going to minimize that, not for a hot second. I'm not even halfway there myself. Griffin, what's your rep at? I'm sure, I don't know how much you've been grinding, but I mean, it's not an easy task. I don't, when I say grindable, that doesn't mean it's a gimme. Griffin, where are you
right
sitting?
now? I am sitting at. Let me give you the latest update here. After today's activities, I am sitting at 28 million.
So you're just a little bit north of me. I think I'm at actually, I think I'm right there, like 27, 28 million. It is very, very difficult. I am not going to sit here and minimize that. And so when I say all this is grindable, that is acknowledging, obviously, the huge effort that the grinders are putting in. The fact that they can is what is beautiful, Destros. The fact that they can makes this an absolutely incredibly praiseworthy design. I have always said, do you remember at the very beginning of the multi-tier primes, Griffin, I said, listen, if you were going to make these stupid, terrible multi-tier primes, then they should be grindable to everybody, and it should have been something crazy. I remember us having conversations about mastery requiring 10,000 hostiles or 25,000 hostiles. Like, these were some of the ideas that came from the player base. All right. To master a loop would take 25,000 hostiles. God, I'd never master a loop. You know what I'm saying? But
Oh yeah, totally.
But we're talking about a massive, massive grind, which I have always argued should be present on any paid content. The fact that they are taking a page out of that book and trying that with this in no way should minimize the spend that players are putting on it, and in no way should minimize the effort that is going in. All right. Tiger said on the show Thursday, Griffin, that he wanted to reward engagement. This is a huge, huge reward, but it is being earned. There is no doubt about that. These players are earning it in a serious, serious way. There was a comment that I received the other day. Let me see if I can find this screenshot that I wanted to share. Yeah, here it is. This was from a player here in our own community, Darksider, who said, "Hey, DJ, I posted my feedback on the official Discord. I want to make sure that it reaches Mr. Tiger. I can't see him there, so if you can direct this to him, I would very much appreciate it. I would like to give positive reinforcement to Mr. Tiger. I was initially very skeptical about the grind and how the features were presented. The huge tech issues in week one didn't help either. I wanted to focus, but I don't want to focus on the tech issues, but more on the ARC content itself. I listened to Mr. Tiger's interview on the podcast last Thursday, and I think it was quite revealing and offered some very good strategic advice if you were able to listen between the lines. I appreciate the option to grind out Khan in as little as a week. I did it myself, and yes, it took tons of dedication, and yes, it was incredibly painful at times. But that's how the best games traditionally work. No time gates, no pay gates, just player engagement and reward for their engagement. Therefore, this grind actually felt rewarding in the end. Being a well-developed Ops 64 with a good crew has helped me. My success in this loop is largely attributed to other factors and tools that have been introduced in the game. I would love to recommend more avoidance of confusion if this interview with Mr. Tiger could have happened on day one. The way of the unlock mechanics, bundles, cooldowns, this is such a beautiful design, and I believe if more clearly communicated, that players never would have approached this with any type of negative sentiment. I never would have assumed that such an unlock could be achievable because all other stuff in the game is time-gated. There are positive and negative sides of time gates, and I believe this is one of the best designs we have seen in this game to date. Darksider, thank you very much for your letter. I appreciate that, and I did personally screenshot it and forward it on to Mr. Tiger himself directly in a DM. It is very well written, and it follows the exact mentality, Griffin, of something that we have asked for in this community on this stage for a number of years, which is humongous engagement for a very worthwhile reward. And the fact that the skill points, the Khan unlock himself, the Joachim officer, all of the currency needed to max him is all grindable with no cooldowns. This is literally an arc where you get out of it exactly whatever you put into it as fast as you put into it.
That's why from day one, I have been excited for this month because it's something for everybody. Literally nobody should be left out or feel left out. We have Ops 26 and up in the game, skin in the game. We have free to play with massive skin in the game. I would imagine that the engagement numbers over at good old Scopely HQ and in STFC are through the roof this month simply because you're rewarded very handsomely for the time that you're investing in this feature. And I think that it should be lauded and it should be met with a lot of positive feedback and praise, just like that perfectly worded letter that you read for us. Thank you for that.
Yeah, Darksider, amazingly, probably one of the best crafted summarizations that I've seen this month yet, and I share it fully. I appreciate it and endorse. Destros, on top of all the skill points being grindable, there's still more secrets to con, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. But before we continue, I did want to point out that this fleet commander, he hits two notes that I'm 100% on board with you on, DJs. He is we have seen today, or with the launch of this arc, the first time where we see the exact amount of time that Scopely thinks $100 is worth for a player. They think that you grinding out this fleet commander at your own pace, yes, with the hostile cap of 2,000 players or 2,000 hits hostiles per day, is worth the $100 it takes to get con. And however many $100 packs you need to max out his ability. So, as Cruzito is saying in chat, this is 100% grindable PvP implications for players that you can get at your own speed and your own level of engagement.
That's absolutely accurate. And you said it right there, the last sentence. Your own speed, your own engagement, and your own pace of play. I mean, you will get a guaranteed return when you want it. And when you get it is completely determinant upon the amount of effort that you put into it, which is ultimately exactly how it should be. Right? It's just it's the design is magnificent, in my opinion. Destros, let's continue with the secrets of con.
So in the next slide, we're going to see something that is a near and dear concern to my heart, and that is, how are we doing versus hostiles?
Huh? What? Sorry.
Uh, there we go. All right. So something I like to track whenever we see crit chance introduced into the game is, how am I faring against hostiles and how do I need a crew now? So what I have here for you is that now with the
Oh,
introduction of Khan,
interesting.
once he is slotted with Lorca, Kirk, and your applicable 100% free to play crit chance versus hostiles, we're seeing 82% crit chance versus surveys base. If you're hitting non-triangle hostiles, so like if you're on a battleship hitting explorers or other battleships, you're at 84.5%. And when you're hitting with the triangle, it is possible to get to 99.5%, which does require the appropriate uncommon Orb of X temporal artifact that we saw released to be maxed. To me, this means that if you're equipping a PvE focused forbidden tech on your ship, like the Metreon Cascade Warhead or the Quantum Slipstream Drive that I show here, at those levels, you no longer need Hue below deck to hit 100% versus hostiles um, uh, at any point in the combat, which is phenomenal. So these are things that, as any other lever gets introduced into the game, your own mileage is definitely going to vary. But this shows me that maybe we don't need to be crewing Hue on our ships below deck anymore. If you have some of these tools available to you, and Metreon Cascade Warhead is completely accessible to players through the Syndicate, and this month, Quantum Slipstream Drive also came in as a grindable free-to-play Forbidden Tech through the Augment store. So we're seeing now the ability for you to crew for hostiles without having to put in Hue, which means you could put in things like Quasi or Palia or pick Hue down there if you have limited slots to free up your ability to introduce other buffs that are going to help you, which is extremely valuable here in the Augment Exiles, where we kind of want that Apex Shred from Quasi, or maybe that whole health regen from pick Hue if you're trying to hit those level 70 nightmare hostiles that got introduced. So this is a nice little benchmark. Basically saying, guys, we're very close to the point where you won't even need a forbidden tech on your ship to hit 100% crit chance from or versus hostiles.
Which therefore would also potentially make it in such a way that now, Destros, you could efficiently crew multiple ships. You know, one of the things that I know that some people will fall back on is that they won't like, you know, grinding with another ship because it's not as good or not as efficient or a little bit too expensive or it's not getting as much rep or this or that. Now, with the proper separation of tools, there's actually enough tools present that can get you maximum efficiency and maximum efficacy in more than one ship.
Definitely. Like I like to run Quantum Slipstream Giant on my cube, like probably a lot of players do. So I don't put Hue on there. If I'm gonna send out a second ship, that's the ship that gets my Hue. Like I've been doing in my own version of grinding here. I'll throw Hue on my Koskari that has my PvP Forbidden Tech, and both ships are now hitting 100% crit chance in whatever they're targeting. So yeah, it definitely opens up the ability for players who like to grind with 2 or 3 ships to be able to do it where they're getting crew variety in ways that appeal to them.
Also,
I
as
prefer if they
a
just drop the price of the fusion rods for the transferring the FT. Bring that down a bit.
well, but look at a
Yeah, they
scenario.
did that at the beginning of the month. I love that.
Well, and look at a scenario as Con points out in the chat. Convoluted says, what about Elite Solo Waves when you need 3 ships? How nice would it be to have 3 ships throwing max crit percentage? I mean, Con affects everybody. You are traditionally fighting with the triangle in Elite Solo Waves. So having, you know, Hugh here and the Slipstream there and Con working on this one, I mean, you're going to have the
And
opportunity.
Vial on your third ship.
Vial on the third one, you're going to have an opportunity to get 3 ships to max crit chance. I mean, it's kind of pretty big, you know? Or, as
And as
Cruzito
Cruzito
points out, yeah,
maybe we both heard the same thing. Now maybe you could throw Hugh out on an away team assignment and get uh, his bonuses applying on a mission.
yeah, absolutely. Being able to free up some of these officers to be able to use that we traditionally wouldn't want to have given up for several days. So very, very good points there. I love that analysis with Borg Hugh. I mean, he's been the end-all be-all in PvE, and now Con is the first opportunity that we've had at eliminating some of the dependency on Borg Hugh. Well, it's about time, and that's awesome that Con can. Let's talk about some of these unique PvP implications.
Yeah, and so now the last thing I wanted to bring up that we kind of touched on before was here I've chosen the example of the Perdition's Flame. And this is one of those unique conditional modifiers where if you've applied Hull Breach to the opponent, you have this chance of applying Burning. So what do I think this means for PvP? Well, you kind of hit it nail on the head. Now, when I'm crewing a ship that has, say, Interceptor Strike Team or the Freeman team, maybe now below deck, I don't only run stuff that procs off of Hull Breach, but now I can also run stuff that procs off of Burning so that I can bring more Apex Barrier or more PvP Hull Health regen through the forms of, French Marshal Q and the or the two Qs. I'm sorry. So, these are things that as we have these tools available to us, because there is a version for if you have morale and if you have applied burning, they give you this kind of freedom to start looking at all your other tools. Like maybe you don't have Q's Cannon, but you do have, say, Soren's Trilithium or some other versions. Where it gives you bonuses like if I'm not mistaken it's Soren's Trilithium where if they have morale now you reduce effects on them, so
Reduces
this
their
is
weapon
like
shot.
Rosito is saying, it's adding
If they have morale, the one that they activate, if they have morale, it reduces their weapon shot. That one.
yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. So now you have that. It also brings in more of your star pads bonuses, adds even more Crujitsu because now maybe your opponent is going to be having the chance to apply 2 status effects to you versus 1. So, PvP is being opened up again despite them having introduced Apex Shred to counter Apex Barrier. Um, And then the other interesting PvP implication here is this crit damage versus players is a pretty significant amount. That's 50%. You know, with some of the base crit chances that we're already seeing in the game, like your ships are starting at 22% before anything else applies. This now brings you up to 72% versus players. And there's other PvP crit chance out there that maybe you're starting off combat already at 100% crit chance. So now maybe you don't need Honor Guard Wharf up there on that bridge to give you the 100% crit chance when you're running your Freeman team. And now you can start crewing other things in there. So, you know, this is all about the tools that we're seeing are freeing up crewing options as well as providing us these unique buffs. So it is very interesting that, you know, Khan comes in the same kind of heavy-handed, I'm going to give you a lot of stuff that Lorca did, but in such a way where this balancing of PvP that we've been asking for is coming back into the fold again, despite them reversing it with Apex Shred.
That actually gives me a little bit of reassurance. I've been so frustrated with Shred, Griffin, but the fact that Khan is able to come in and has, as Cruzito points out in the chat, this is potentially, and certainly not a reset per se, but this definitely is capable of narrowing the PvP gap when it comes to reintroducing Crujitsu and strategy into PvP. Obviously, there's still a lot of stuff that someone could have paid for, but Khan is narrowing that a little bit by adding and supplementing in some areas of shortfall for free-to-play players to get them back into the game, so to speak. Khan is loaded.
Absolutely.
All right, so
And
I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, I was just going to say, so now that we've talked about all the things that I wanted to highlight, I just wanted to point out, like we always do, here's an overview of everything we talked about. Khan is the fleet commander Lorca of PvP without any, you know, any qualms about that. He's providing us extremely high value buffs in both PvE and PvP. Once unlocked, just like Lorca, you should never take this boy out of his seat unless you're switching him around with Lorca to get that active ability. And as mentioned, he is a truly 100% grindable PvP officer with high level implications that cannot be understated in any way. Neither, you know, it being the fact that he's 100% free to play grindable or his implications. And then we saw with him the unique introduction of high level skill dependencies that shouldn't scare players, but just make them aware that they exist.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, from the Talking Trek Laboratory with an incredibly detailed, analytical, expert breakdown of the new fleet commander that everybody should be fighting to get. It is Destros. Thank you so much for your time, man. That is brilliant.
It is my pleasure.
I love it. I love a good PowerPoint presentation.
Dude,
good job.
That was a brilliant analysis. And the fact that everybody now has had the opportunity to look and see how impactful he's going to be. I saw one question that I'd like to answer very quickly. Do you want to slot him in the first spot? As Destros mentioned there at the very, very end, if you're going to use that active ability called Wrath of Khan, then yes, you are going to want him because there is only one current Fleet Commander slot that will give you access to the active ability. So you're going to want to stay flexible in potentially swapping him and Lorca into that first seat. But really, other than that, you're always going to want to keep him slotted into one of your Fleet Commander chairs if that is at all possible. So definitely keep that in mind, but do keep in mind also that the active ability, Wrath of Khan or Lorca's Fist, in the case of Fleet Commander Lorca, must be in Fleet Commander slot number 1 for it to be activated. Destros, what a remarkable presentation. Thank you for educating our community. Jules Verne is on the stage. Jules, fantastic explanation. I know that that you must be proud of your lab rats up there. Destros did a phenomenal job on that, don't you think?
I was just there in support for Destros, so I
He
appreciate
did
that.
a
I did
fantastic job.
So because Destros kept asking me to do this and he kept poking me constantly, did actually update our fleet commander sheet. And one of the interesting things is I was able to plot the skill points by command center. So I've just went ahead and posted this in the chat room here. We see how the skill points kind of break down by command center and how they have seemingly followed the exact same path of Lorca. And we never really talked about Lorca, but
Never.
when Lorca came out, we all praised the fact that they had reprioritized a lot of the skills earlier in the command center progression. Now, there's been some acceleration of the command center leveling, so it's different now, but it's still great that they followed that model. So even if you don't have a high level of command center, you're still going to be able to get through a lot of the skills and higher in the lower skills than you would have with the previous generation of fleet commanders. So also great design here.
Fantastic. Griffin, when we're looking at the overall efficacy of Fleet Commander Khan, this may be one of those scenarios where the lore of the character actually stands up in the game. I know that we've talked in the past about, when William Shatner's James T. Kirk was first introduced into the game and Leonard Nimoy's Spock was first introduced into the game, and we felt like those officer abilities fell short of what the legend of those characters demanded. Khan Noonien Singh was a force to be reckoned with in lore, and now inside our game, he's coming with an equal amount of force.
Oh, they definitely hit a home run with it. He had to be PvP dependent. That's Khan. So the fact that it's that way is wonderful. I also, again, huge shout out to the storyline team for their hard work with the missions. You definitely get a good presence of Khan and watching the film in the storylines that we're going through here with the missions. That's wonderful. This is a must-have officer, and the good news is that everybody gets him. All you have to do is put in the work, and then you have to decide who's going to be on your Mount Rushmore of fleet commanders and what 4 max you're going to have seated at any one time. I do like the strategy of flip-flopping with Lorca because one's more PvE, one's more PvP, but that does give pause to what the best strategy is now for who you are seating in Fleet Commander Town and in the command center, and what you should be going after there.
I do want to remind players, and it should be relatively common knowledge by now, but just in case it's not, or if you missed this memo many, many months ago, it is relatively easy to flip between these commander slots now. It used to be 6 hours. Now it's only 30 minutes. All right. So it really is not that bad to swap fleet commanders around. And so when you talk about the guys that should be sad or the fleet commanders, I say guys, but I mean, you got gals in there too. So what fleet commanders should be seated at all times? Well, it's going to depend on how many slots you've got, how many you've got unlocked, because I believe there's 3 free to play now. There is a total available of 6 now. Okay. So the issue of who do you keep slotted, Griffin, that's a really complicated question. It kind of circles back to what we were just talking about here just a few minutes ago with the reintroduction of a lot of crew jitsu. This is going to be very situational, very dependent on the state of your account, what fleet commanders you have, how many slots you have unlocked, and even within Lorca and Khan, what abilities you're looking to use, because you're going to have to be able to cycle them into the first slot. So the fact that Scopely has dropped that down to 30 minutes, which did happen many, many months ago, I'm not indicating that is new, but just do be aware that slotting fleet commanders and moving them around should not be taboo at this particular time. It's a 30-minute cooldown, so move them around as you can. I don't know, in summary to your question, Griffin, I don't know that there is an answer of who you keep slotted at all times.
Well, the point is that
no
because it's so easy to move them around, you really have to pay attention to it, because if you're newer to the game and just learning about fleet commanders and how important they are to the game, they're their own independent research trees. And so if you're going out doing PvP stuff and you don't have the PvP fleet commander seated, it's like literally you have a whole research tree clicked off for the primary focus that you're trying to, just like Spock. If you're building stuff and you don't have Spock seated at that point in time, you have a whole research tree turned off that you should have turned on. So just, really important to pay attention to the fleet commanders. Don't set it and forget it. Analyze what you're doing in the game at that point in time and making sure you're making the right choices now.
Absolutely. Jules, anything else to add or cap off from our Fleet Commander Con presentation as we get ready to wrap up tonight? Guys, we have hit all of our show notes and we are under our time. That never happens. So, Jules, do you have...
No, I wanted to talk about the primes. What to buy.
Damn it! We're done. We're going to hit our time now. God bless it.
Almost.
So close. So close. All right. That's right. Griffin, VIP received a super secret, top secret mission order email today. Tell us a little bit about the contents that everyone in VIP is not supposed to know about, but we don't believe in those lines, and we're going to share it anyway.
Well, I'm pretty sure it went out to everybody. I'm not too sure. But it says, Commanders, behold, 2 new primes are joining the fray. It's time to get a massive boost to your Augment Reputation and Wrath credits and drastically shorten the duration of your Priority 1 away team assignments. So in stores now, DJs, we have adaptive algorithms, which permanently unlocks a 20% chance for every Priority 1 away team assignment to appear with a length of only 1 hour. Is that a completion length of only 1 hour?
Yes, it is indeed.
That's incredible.
It is incredible. This one is very interesting to me. I haven't purchased it. People have asked me about it in the chat. I am very, very interested in this.
Don't do it.
What?
Don't do it.
Why?
I told you
Because
why
you
yesterday,
can't
a few
sustain
days ago.
planetary charts to start it.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Well, what a
You get
buzzkill
more
comment that
speed
was.
ups
That looked
than
like the
you
best prime of the year.
What a buzzkill comment that is. Well, not that you would have been able to buy it anyway. See, this is related to the feature, Griffin. You would not have been allowed to buy this prime. This is
that's true.
That's true. So Jules is just saving you from feeling bad about yourself. Jules.
Exactly.
All right. So this thing okay. Let's again explain what this does in exact and precise detail. However many number of Priority 1 ATA slots that you have available, 1, 2, 3, 4, the more slots you have, the more valuable this prime becomes. If this prime procs, which is a 20% chance, if this prime procs, then on a refresh, every one of your Priority 1 ATAs, be it common, uncommon, rare, epic, or conquest,
Ooh.
procs with a 1 hour completion time.
If you don't like that, you don't like Star Trek Fleet Command Entertainment. I've got to have that prime. Can you imagine that? A 15-day mission with 1 hour? Cool.
Jules is right, though. Jules is right. If you got 3 beautiful assignments, what are the likelihood that you could start all 3 of them with the very limited sourcing of planetary charts that we've got right now? Now, that's not to say that I don't feel like it might get better. Mr. Tiger has plans. But right now, Jules is right. How many could you actually start right now? I don't know that I could start more than 1, maybe 2.
I could not start an
Yeah,
epic.
but that's a today problem. That's not a 3 months from now problem. And this prime is forever.
Should I wait until the situation improves before I purchase the prime?
I guess I'm curious to think why you think the situation is going to get better. Where else are you going to get these planetary charts from? Or it's just because you're going to be able to double pull the one chest?
I imagine the economy will improve over time. Of course, it'll improve over time.
It will improve over time. They always do that. We just don't know how long it's going to take. We don't. And that's why, I was very interested in this prime. But Jules, you're right. If I did get 4 amazing assignments to proc, I couldn't even start them all. You know what I'm saying?
Well, you could always...
Yes, let me buy the prime. You know what? Scopely's got it figured out. Let me buy the prime that's going to make me want to buy more packs. Unbelievable.
Exactly.
And actually, DJs, I have a follow-up question for you. And if anyone actually has this Prime and has actually seen it proc, this is a question directly for you. When that hour runs out, or say you speed up that hour, and that slot itself then refreshes, do you also still get an hour, or is
No.
it basically you just get
It's
whatever
on.
slots were available at the time?
That's right.
Those are 1 hour.
That's it. It's on a refresh. So let's say that you've got 3 slots and you've got 2 assignments rolling and you finish one assignment. All right. When it refreshes, you've got that 20% chance proc. Now, anytime any of them reset, you've got that 20% chance. But if it's a turn of the clock and you've got 4 of them resetting, then whatever refreshes on that roll, at least the way I've been told, whatever refreshes on that specific refresh would either all or nothing hit. So if you had 4 slots but 1 assignment going and you hit your natural clock timer, or you hit a refresh token, then all 3 of those, whatever refreshes on that specific refresh that procs, you would get all of them at 1 hour.
Yeah, I got to take the exact opposite position as Jules Verne here, because as much as you're right about not having enough of those, the
dude, I've only
dongles to
challenged
start them
Jules
all
once. It didn't end well. Did not end well.
Well, listen to that. Let me finish my premise here. Even though you're not going to be able to start them all the time, when you do have the one that you do want to run, imagine how much it's going to save you in the Sigma speed ups.
Why would you speed it up?
Why would you speed it up? It's only an hour.
I'm not saying speed it up. I'm saying if you get a hello. If you get a 15-day conquest, but it's not 15 days anymore, it's just an hour. Imagine how much of the Sigma speed up that would have saved you.
Those ones don't use Sigma.
The conquest don't. That's right. It's just the.
Not only that, but they still cost you 2,000
then the 10-day
charts.
ones.
It would still cost. Okay. All right. What about this? You know what? Andy's got a point. Griffin. Andy's got a pro Griffin point. Listen, Jules, what if you have the 4 slots and you just wait for that to proc before starting your more expensive ones? I mean, it is a 20% chance. It's a 20% chance. So, I mean, maybe you just save your planetary charts for when you get something like that.
What you're telling me is if you're a player who's now invested $200 into your priority 1 ATAs, that you're going to have plenty of planetary charts to line up a bunch of epics, which means that you're also buying planetary charts. At this current moment, I do concede Griffin says, hey, in the future, it may be good because we may get a bunch more planetary charts, and then it's going to be speed ups that are the problem. But I'm telling you right now, it's not the speed ups that are a problem, particularly if you're targeting epics.
Okay.
2,000 charts for 7 days, that's expensive.
Yeah, it is.
It takes 8 days to get the planetary charts.
8 days to
if
get
you're
one
single pulling
start.
That chest.
Yeah.
And
8
they're
days.
only 7 days long. There's no reason to speed them up.
Yep. And I will also say right now, if the Pioneer's Crest, which is the research currency that you gain from these priority 1 ATAs, if that is your goal, your actual ideal rarity is the rares. You get more crest per chart spent on the rares than you do any of the others. The caveat is if you do the epic, but you do the high level epic, which has the highest barrier for officer stats, and you crit it, then you will get 28,000 Pioneer's Crest, which makes it more efficient. But that is you're asking for a lot there.
Never tell me the odds.
No. I'm telling the rest of the people the odds.
All right, so
you can certainly spend your way to actually having value in this prime and having the 1 hour speed ups. And it sounds like amazing, but I'm telling you right now, if you're not a heavy spender, then charts are your problem. Getting enough charts are going to be your problem.
Cruzito reminds me that there is an efficiency for that. Is there not, Jules Verne?
For
the
planetary charts? No, Pioneer's Crest.
The
There
start
is.
currency has no efficiency.
No,
the
not for
Pioneer's
planetary
Crest
charts.
For the research has efficiency.
Yeah.
Well, in Cruzito's build of the game, there is. So you'll have to take that up with him.
And
anyways, tomorrow.
And there is a cap on planetary charts. So banking a ton. Now, again, they come so slowly. I don't know how many people are going to actually
5,000, I think
hit
it
that
is, right?
cap at 250 a day. But there is a cap, so you can't grind them forever. All right. What's the other prime, Griffin, that you're going to try to tell us we should buy?
Well, tomorrow, Prime Augment Ordnance lands, which is an augment reputation and credit boost. This significantly increases reputation dropped by Augment Exile hostiles and unlocks a daily free claim in the Augment faction store containing common, uncommon, rare, and epic Wrath credits. How about that?
Didn't people already buy that?
It does
and
indeed.
I posted a chart in the chat.
Yep. I was looking for that myself. Thank you. We've got all the numbers. And here you go. Going to pull this up for you. Here's what you're getting. All right. Now, this one for me, Griffin, is leaving me feeling slightly sad and dissatisfied. What is the button that we've got for that? I'm feeling
disappointed and dissatisfied.
Disappointing and dissatisfied. This to me feels very, 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 very lackluster. Okay. What are the prices of this? Because maybe level ones isn't level one only a $5 prime? I'm pretty sure level one.
No, it should be $100 for the whole thing because it's $1,000.
Yeah.
Well,
all three levels?
No, it's
first level is $20.
First level's $20. So depending on your ops, Jules, you can break it down. $20 for level 1, $50 will get you to level 2, or $100 will get you to level 3, depending on what you're allowed to buy. Okay, so depending on your ops or your other prerequisites, $100 will get you all 3 levels. $50 will get you 2 levels, and $20 will get you the first level. This, even at the $100, really does not strike me as amazing.
Well, what's your income right now for common credits, we'll say? We'll just go with common.
800 a day.
Right. And you spend how much of that on doing the planetary charts?
500.
Okay. So you end up with what? 300
300 to the good, yeah.
Well, this would bump you up to 800 per day. This pays for your planetary chart poll every day.
Well, there you go.
That's not terrible right now. I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like next month, but for now, that's pretty substantial.
And maybe DJ does, which is why he's being really shady about this one.
I mean, matters. Why don't you buy all the levels?
As
I agree.
previously indicated, Mr. Tiger has a plan, and Wrath credits do not appear to be the choke point in which I agree with Jules. Planetary charts is definitely something that we should be focused on.
Anyways, that's what's coming up in Prime Town.
Another thing about this Prime is that it does come with a reputation boost. We've talked about reputation boost. You have already, DJs, ground out almost 20 million reputation in
27 million. 27 million.
So 17 because you only hit 1 million. So yeah, so about 26 million in 2 days or 10 days. That's really good.
Thank you.
That's a high rate of reputation. Now, you may not be able to sustain that, but how long till you get to 60 million, which basically unlocks all of the goodies of this faction? And then, however long it's going to take you to get to the rest of the way so you can unlock the last layer of favors and other goodies. I don't see reputation especially reputation gained from hostiles, as a major point in which we should be paying for right now.
Well, that depends on how quickly you want to get to 60 million.
And it's finite.
Yeah, I mean,
and it's finite because this. Sorry.
Yeah.
It runs out. It's a limited time Prime.
Yeah,
maybe
you get to 60 million, it's
buy rep
worthless.
right now. You can skip the grind, buy rep. Like if you want to skip the grind, go buy rep. Don't buy this Prime for the rep gain alone.
don't buy it for the
Well, yeah, for the
credits
rep game
alone
alone.
either.
Mm. Mm. Well, this just in.
Wait till next month.
I was telling DJs earlier that this reminds me of Exborg Ordinance. Like it is still more credits. Regardless what comes afterwards, this is still more credits. But when we look back on the Exborg Ordinance, do we feel like that drip really affects the income of Exborg credits? Are we all hurting for Exborg credits because we didn't get the ordinance? Is kind of what I'm alluding to.
So anyway, thanks for the email, Griffin. That was sent to all the whales. And then we forwarded on to you because that's what we do here.
Well, you know.
Should be no separation of information based on class.
No, there certainly should not be. We should all have information and make our own independent decisions based on math or your gut.
Make your independent decisions on what it is that you want to purchase. Like I said at the beginning of the show, well, we're not here telling you what you have to spend money on. We're just breaking down the worth of the packs and telling you what's good and what's not and what might be a good value. And, you know, as we discuss this Prime, we're doing the same thing.
You guys know that's in the in-game news, right?
Good. I'm glad. That means we can't be busted for sharing it. All right. Fantastic.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, just making sure you knew that. I mean, I just showed up, so I wanted to make sure that was
All right. Now that we sufficiently actually did hit our time and have gone over by 5 minutes, do we have anything else that we wanted to share here this evening, Griffin, before we get ready to bounce?
No, I think that does it. We look forward to getting this wonderful PowerPoint presentation posted as a quick and dirty video for everybody to digest tomorrow. Thanks again for coming up and showing that information to us. That was a wonderful little segment there.
It really, really was. Thank you, Destros, very much. Appreciate that. As we get ready to wrap up the show today, for our live studio audience, I want to point out how close we are to the bonus stream goal. Only 27 subs away. Now, I don't necessarily say that with just the point of pressuring for 27 more subs, but you made it 73% and it's a stream goal. It'll reset on the next show, and we're right there for a bonus stream. Maybe we play some Schedule 1 on Saturday. And I'm just saying, you know, maybe. By the way, I have it on good authority.
Oh, there you go.
Thanks, Lost In.
Lost In. What
Lost
are you doing,
In just
baby
wants
boy?
to see that more DJs.
Loves it. Lost In, thank you very much. That was beautiful.
Thanks,
Who
bro.
immediately drops the 27 necessary subs for a bonus stream. By the way, did you guys know that obviously, Jules, we've been tinkering with this new game that I've been enjoying way too much called Schedule 1, in which
you're a drug dealer.
You're dealing drugs. Anyway, I happened to notice in my Steam panel when I actually
don't finish the story. Don't finish the story.
Oh, I totally am.
Don't finish it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
I noticed another individual.
No. That's it for the show, everybody. Thank you very much for tuning in to this episode of Talking Track. Let's go. We're out of here.
He's not going to let me tell you who I found is also playing this game. Come on. Oh, my God. I want
to. Is it Beck?
No.
Yes! Yes!
No.
And she's got like 40 hours in it.
Oh, wow.
Well, she does like plants.
That's right. She does like plants. All right. Obviously, it makes sense that she plays this game.
You're in so much trouble. And just on the heels of having content creator licenses renewed, like within the next 2 days, this is the crap you pull.
Oh, I don't think listen, you're now in more trouble than I am because nobody knew that. And that's it, everybody. Now the show is over because now we're actually in trouble. Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you guys, one and all. Appreciate you. Ape says in 2 days this will be Talking Trek with Ultimate Griffin.
That's exactly right. Well, for now, love you, mean it.
Oh, that's a good one. Guys, thank you so much for being a part of our live studio audience. Appreciate all of you guys being here. Still to the 367 of you in our live studio audience. You guys are incredible. Thank you. Absolutely. So much. Appreciate you guys all. Visit our website at TalkingTrekSTFC.com. That's TalkingTrekSTFC.com, where you can find links to our YouTube channel, where we have put up a couple of new shorts thanks to Griffin, who is settling in his new underground lair. Made a great video short with Mr. Tiger and Doman, that interview, and then also Jules Verne's detailed explanation of the new Augment Grind Hostile Loop. Be sure to go and check that out. Plus, coming up here in the next couple of days, more here on Fleet Commander Con, and so much more on the YouTube channel as we continue to develop that and share the information with you over there. We appreciate that. Also, you'll find the official contest rules for winning a free cruise. That's right. Talking Trek has given away a cruise. Be sure to visit TalkingTrekSTFC.com for information and details on how you can win a free cruise aboard Star Trek The Cruise 9 from Cape Canaveral, Florida, coming up in February 2026. The official rules are there. We'd also like to invite you to check out our merchandise store, where Candy White is currently very, very hard at work developing. Oh, God, it's already up. He just developed a brand new piece of merchandise. You guys might just have to go and look at it for yourselves and check it out over there. Candy White taking care of our merchandise situation over there, so be sure to check that out. Thank you guys so very much. I appreciate you one and all for all of us here at Talking Trek. My name is UltimatDJz.
Oh, and I'm Griffin.
And we are just two of the amazing team on behalf of Tarpy and Matters and Karkin and Jules Verne and Destros and Spectre and Wolfwood and so many others who put in so much time, love, and energy into this community. We all say thank you for being a part of our family, and thank you for consuming our content. I am, in fact, UltimatDJz, your friendly neighborhood cat person saying meow for now. Love you, mean it. We'll catch you later this weekend. Good night, everybody.